Ladies and gentlemen, it is Monday, January 12th, 2026. Here's what's coming up on the Owen Report today. Well, it was an absolutely loaded weekend, and I found myself having to cut a lot from the content today. And we have a very content-heavy show today, and I had to cut a lot out because this weekend was so busy. And I think the biggest story has to be the foreign war propaganda that we just witnessed for, 72 hours straight? And the most incredible thing about this, and I'm going to present it all, and again, I had to whittle this down to like maybe half or less of my presentation on this subject, but all of these images of the Iranian women, all of these images of the Iranians in the streets, but most specifically the one image of the girl with the photo of Khamenei that she's burning and lighting a cigarette with. This became the image. Well, there's some debate, but I'll show you the evidence that this image is from the year 2022, but there's no debate that this is a woman, a radical feminist, leftist woman, a Canadian woman who shot this video in Canada. Okay? So do you understand how this works now, ladies and gentlemen? They take a potentially multi-year-old image. Again, there's debates on whether the image is new or not, but I'll show you the post that says it's from 2022. So they take a multi-year-old image of a Canadian feminist, and they say, look, this is the Iranian women standing up. And it's all fake. And I could have shown you 100 accounts, 200 accounts, all of these big right-wing accounts, right-leaning accounts, MAGA accounts, all these people that support the foreign wars, all these people that support the foreign countries, they're all sharing this image, and it's a total lie. And just like with the Venezuela war propaganda, where they were showing you videos from years ago, videos from Chile, videos from Florida, videos from outside of soccer games, totally fake. Nobody deleted them. Nobody corrected the record. And they're literally just sharing fake videos. They're literally just sharing war propaganda. You can't even make this stuff up, and we don't have to. Unless we're in the business of propaganda, then they make it up all the time. So we're going really heavy into that. Now, there is some news out of the White House. We're going to cover some news from the desk of Donald Trump, some health news. We'll start it off a little light with some of the health news and then some of the more heavy news from the Trump administration over the weekend. And then, yeah, we're really heavy. We're really heavy on the war propaganda. We'll look at the situation in Argentina, where it looks like they just burned down the Patagonia so that somebody can come in there and take the land and take the rare earth minerals underneath it. So you've got that going on. And then you've got the radical leftists, the ICE protesters, back in the streets again. And it's just pathetic. It's like, even when it's like there's a chance you could be right on this issue with the ICE shooting. It's like there's a chance. Like there's room for debate and discussion on this, and you guys are just so cringeworthy. You just can't even help yourselves. That now even the rational-minded people that might have been like, well, okay, let's review this. Let's see what's going on. Even the rational people now, they just want nothing to do with you. You guys are so toxic. So anyway, we've got footage of the protests from over the weekend. Nick Sordor was in a couple of interesting incidents. We're going to get a point of view shot from Nick Sordor over the weekend. And then just these radical feminists, man. These radical feminists are really something else, aren't they? They really are. And then we've got an update on the Florida governor's race. We got a little bit of a economy story today. We're loaded. Content-heavy show to kick off the week on a Monday. Glad you're here with us. Let's go.
This news update was brought to you by OwenSchroyer.store, the official site for Owen Report merchandise.
All right, guys, you may have seen this last week. It was all over the news. We covered it on the show in Europe, in Germany specifically, mass power outages. Now, it looks like this one is being traced back to some radical leftist climate group, some eco-terrorists shutting down the power, and they had people without power for days, some for weeks. If you've ever had to go through this before, you know it's something you don't really think about is winter preparedness, maybe storm preparedness. You know, everybody thinks about different ways to prepare their house, home insurance, fire detectors, what have you. But what about brutal cold? Have you ever had to deal with that? Well, if you're in an area that's not used to it, like Texas, it really shuts everything down. And it shuts the stores down, the roads down. You can't get food. And if the electricity is out, you can't even heat yourself up. You can't even heat your house. You can't cook anything. So a lot of people tend to forget about this. So our friends at My Patriot Supply want to make sure you don't. They want to make sure that you are prepared. And right now, limited time, this special is running out. We're counting down the days now, folks. The Winter Prep Special at mypatriotsupply.com/Owen. Or you can see on the screen here, if you scan that barcode, boom, you can get access to $400 in free bonus gear. All you got to do is scan that barcode on the screen. But okay, you get a nice emergency food supply. You get some bonus free gifts. But here's the one that's so critical, especially in the winter. It's the Vesda off-grid space heater. It's a space heater that doesn't use electricity or propane. It runs on something called canned heat, which, this is the key, is an indoor safe fuel. That's right, an indoor safe fuel, no electricity, no propane. With a Vesda stash in your closet, you know you can keep warm no matter what. It even doubles as a stove to cook your food. How convenient is that? The best part is right now, you can get the Vesda and a bunch more preparedness gear as free gifts when you order the Winter Survival Kit from My Patriot Supply. Go to mypatriotsupply.com/Owen. Scan the barcode on your screen. Either way, get prepared, especially with the Winter Preparedness Kit right now at mypatriotsupply.com/Owen.
Turn my clip to 1.
On the cutting edge of news and analysis, the Owen Report with Owen Schroyer.
Well, there's a theme. All right, there is a theme. The White House, the administration, RFK Jr., they're all over this. The milk mustache is back. They are promoting you drinking milk. I'd like them to go one step further and promote raw milk. I would like to see that. At least say, hey, raw milk is not so bad. It's been demonized. It's not so bad. You can pick raw milk, pasteurized, whatever you want. A2, there's many different options. 2%. So many different great options. But apparently yesterday was National Milk Day, so you've got the White House. They're bringing the milk mustache back. How many people even remember that? That's kind of an old thing, the milk mustache marketing campaigns from the 90s, really. And then I guess once they started demonizing milk, they decided to get rid of this ad campaign. You know, it's funny. I stumbled upon it, I guess, yesterday with the National Milk Day. Japan, I believe, was the most incredible case, but there's different long-term studies about civilizational consumption of milk specifically. And in Japan, they discovered that once they introduced milk as a staple of the diet, that they started to grow taller. They started to grow taller, and a significant amount. It was multiple inches when they introduced milk and dairy specifically. So it was dairy was the study, not just milk, but all dairy. So that's pretty amazing. The power of milk, the power of cows. You know, those Indians, they might get one thing right. The cow, worshiping the cow, their obsession over the cow. Cows are pretty great. You know, it was God that made the cow. But cows are pretty great. So anyway, we're going with the trend today. We've got the raw milk t-shirt on. In fact, I don't know, did we take that down? I think it's still up at owenschroyer.store. We're going to have a big announcement from owenschroyer.store today. I'll let you know if the raw milk t-shirt is up there or not. We'll check that out. I can't remember. We may have pulled it down. Even Brooke Rollins getting in on the fun. Now, Brooke, you're missing your milk mustache here, but you're definitely, this is what the Russians have been doing lately, kind of trolling the trans left by putting out images of feminine women smiling. So I don't know, maybe the administration getting in on a little bit of that fun. But Brooke Rollins getting in on the fun as well. All right. Aside from the light start there, we're milk supporters here. We're milk supporters here. And the raw milk shirt is available at owenschroyer.store. We kept that one alive. So there you go. All right, now into the heaviest stuff. Now, I posted this last night. And there's actually been new Q posts by the administration just today. Now, if you recall, it's been subtle over the years. There have been little stuff that the QAnon followers will point to. They'll say like, oh, look at the watch here, or look at this. It's kind of like very subtle, nuanced stuff, like coded stuff, clued stuff that if you know it or buy into it, then you kind of see it. And if you don't, you just think it's nothing. Then I think when it really started to raise eyebrows was at the end of last year when Trump posted the image of a windmill in Israel and all the symbology in it and said, oh, look, the windmills are killing the eagles. And yet it wasn't an eagle. What was the name of that bird? Kestrel. It was a kestrel, common in Israel. And then it said 9/11 on the bottom right corner. So that was like either just the sloppiest post you've ever seen from a president of the United States. I don't know how else to characterize that. Either the sloppiest post you've ever seen, or it was coded language. So it kind of kicked off this whole thing again, where I guess the QAnon people kind of went dormant for a while because nothing that they ever said was going to happen ever happened. I mean, literally nothing. But like I said, they'll point to some Q post and then they'll like see a watch that Trump is wearing or Putin is wearing or something. They'll be like, oh, see, there it is. But really none of their things have ever come true. So here we go, though. Trump, the administration is now Q posting regularly. So this was just over the weekend. So this has some ominous Q stuff to it right here. I'm not going to go too into detail. This is trust the plan. That's a Q catchphrase. Patriots in control, another Q catchphrase, and hold the line. These are all Q catchphrases, and this one indicates, the storm is coming. So these are all coded messages. It clearly intentional. This is not a coincidence that they're using the Q catchphrases and languages right now. And then they did it again today. So there's no denying that they're doing this intentionally. The question, obviously, is, well, what are they doing? Why are they doing it? Is this to bring back the Q hype because it's fun? It's trolling? Is this to try to counter signal some of the black pillars, let's say, that are getting a little disillusioned by the entire Trump administration? Or I guess, is Q real? You got to look at all the options. So there they are. Now, for those that don't know, I don't want to spend much time on this, but for those that don't know, QAnon, just in case, QAnon is something that popped up, I guess, about late 2016, early 2017, I believe. And some theorize that It's different people doing it, or, it was one group and then a different group, whatever. Forget about it. The whole QAnon idea is these anonymous posts on 4chan, I believe. It's 4chan or Reddit. I think it's 4chan. But basically that there is a secret cabal of white hats or a secret cabal of patriots that are inside the deep state, inside of all these institutions, and they're basically operating without any names, no public awareness, and they're in there draining the swamp. They're in there arresting the deep state pedophiles. They're in there shutting down all the satanic networks, all the satanic pedophile networks, blackmail networks, everything. So this has been the case that they've been posting about for years now. And the one like final act that QAnon says, it's like it's all an act. You're watching a TV show right now. And then the final stage, the final act is, quote unquote, save Israel for last. In other words, Israel is the true deep state. Israel is what's running the blackmail, the satanic pedophile networks, whatever. Or that's kind of like, that's like the final level. That's the final boss for America to defeat, to free itself, to reclaim its sovereignty, to reclaim its independence, to reclaim its prosperity. So this is all QAnon. But the Trump administration is intentionally posting QAnon now, and you just have to wonder why. I don't think it's an insignificant thing. Because, again, the three options to me are that they're doing this to counter-signal the black pillars, meaning they're just outright propagandizing you, just outright psyoping you. That's not really good. Or they're just doing this because it's funny, it's trendy, it'll get clicks on social media, whatever, which is maybe a lesser form of the Trump administration is psyoping you, so still not good. Or the third and final option being that QAnon is real and that the Trump administration is a part of it, and that's what they're trying to signal to you with all of this stuff. Now, that would be nice if there was a secret shadow group of good guys shutting all of this down, the satanic pedophile networks. And eventually all of this is going to make sense someday. It's just when they say trust the plan, I don't know the plan. So I can't trust the plan. I don't know it. They say, well, QAnon has been posting it. Yeah, well, a lot of the stuff that QAnon has been posting has never happened. So I'm not going to trust things that never happened. Patriots in control. Well, where are the Patriots? Well, I guess we can't see them. Okay. Hold the line. I don't even know what the line is anymore. I'm not sure even what the line is. So it's very strange to have this being done intentionally. And I don't think it's I don't think it's a minor thing. I think that that's a pretty big thing, that when you look at the three potential options there, two of them are that the Trump administration is psyoping the American people. Not exactly what you like to see. But let's get into some of the raw news. Now, I'm going to double back to the protest stuff. We're kind of going to bookend this because I've saved the protest stuff that we'll maybe get into it in the second or third hour, depending on how quick we're able to roll through the content for today's show. But this is Trump speaking about the ICE officer that shot Renee Good. And this whole thing is just, the rails are off of it. And I believe J.D. Vance actually said this first. So this means somebody in the administration said that this is the rhetoric we're going with. This is the talking point we're going with. So Trump was asked about the ICE officer. Here's what he said.
Our administration has advocated for absolute immunity for the ICE officer who shot Renee Good. How do you define absolute immunity? What does that mean?
Everyone's seen it. And a woman who's very violent. She's a very radical person. Very sad what happened. Her friend was very radical. Go or
But
drive.
for the officer, absolute immunity. How would you define that?
Well, I'm going to let the people define it. Immunity, you know what immunity means as well as I do.
So that officer
But
should be back on the
people
force.
can't be treating law enforcement that way, whether it's ICE or Border Patrol or our police and men and women. You can't do that. We have You know, the law enforcement in our country is doing really well, despite the fact that Sleepy Joe Biden allowed people to pour through an open border. Crime stats just came out. We have the best crime stats on record, despite all the criminals he allowed into our country. We've gotten a lot of them out. We have to respect our law enforcement. At a very minimum, that woman was very, very disrespectful to law enforcement. And you heard the same noises. You saw the same crunch that I saw. You can't do that with law enforcement, whether it's police or ICE or Border Patrol or anybody else.
When it comes to ICE officials, don't you?
Well, you see, behind me is Caroline Levitt. She's been getting a bit of a hard time lately, but we still support her, and we know she supports me. We saw those lips that go boom, boom, boom. We all know about the boom, boom, boom. And then you saw the injections and that Vanity Fair. We all saw the lips. Let me tell you, I know those lips well. We hear Caroline is also pregnant right now. We celebrate that. May need to do a DNA test later, but we'll just deal with that at a later date. Thank you. All right, I couldn't help myself. Okay, but getting back to it. So the protests, I'd say, are like borderline where they're at. We'll get back to that. They're borderline where they're just not going full violence like we saw with BLM. They're pushing it right to that limit. And that's what they're trying to do. That's what these white liberals try to do. That's what these liberal women try to do. It's like they want to bait you. They want to get right up next to that line. Like, oh, I'm going to cross it. Like, oh, to try to initiate a reaction out of you. And that's what that one woman in the car was doing. And, you know, now she's dead. So play stupid games, win stupid prizes. And the rational people like me that might have had an open mind about this and said, okay, well, you know, I'll hear you guys out and let's see what happens. But you guys are just completely psychotic. So now the agent's probably going to walk, and maybe that's what will push them over the line. But they're just like tiptoeing that line. And when we get back to the protest videos later, I'm going to talk about what I noticed here when they do get violent. And it kind of gets into the cultural issue with young men, I think, right now. But, okay, so absolute immunity. They're signaling. So here's what's probably going to happen. I don't know. This thing is moving fast. The feds are in charge of the official investigation. Now, first Minnesota, the local investigation team, they waved the white flag and they said, okay, federal jurisdiction, you guys are taking it. Then they came back and said, no, we're going to do our own investigation. And then, of course, ultimately, you wouldn't be surprised if there was some other private lawsuit from the family of the individual or someone connected to the individual or some liberal rights group, whatever, that tries to launch their own lawsuit against the officer. So these parts are going to be moving. I don't think we really know the ground of this quite yet. The parts are going to be moving, and so we'll see what happens. But yeah, we'll get back to the protest stuff later on in the show, and I'll show you where the protests are at as far as violence and everything are concerned. They're definitely starting to get violent. But it's like they're keeping the volume just low enough to not have the big cities burning down images on TV. So we'll see how long this lasts. A couple of messages from President Trump here, policy messages posted over the weekend. Please be informed that we will no longer let the American public be ripped off by credit card companies that are charging interest rates of 20 to 30% and even more, which festered unimpeded during the Sleepy Joe Biden administration. Affordability. Effective January 2nd, 2026, I, as President of the United States, am calling for a one-year cap on credit card interest rates of 10%. Coincidentally, the January 20th date will coincide with the one-year anniversary of the historic and very successful Trump administration. Thank you for your attention to this matter. Okay. So that'll kick into gear in 8 days. Now, and that'll be the official one-year anniversary, as Trump said. So this has gotten some pushback. You know, look, whether it's the 50-year mortgages or whether it's this or some of the other financial policies, Trump going after BlackRock owning all the real estate, I think it's a good faith effort to try to help some of these issues. I do. Now, there's debates over how effective this stuff is going to be or not. We all saw it with the 50-year mortgages. So to me, I see this and I'm like, you have to support it. And I understand they're going to say, well, look, now it's going to be even harder to get a loan. Everybody's going to be considered high risk. And I look at it, I'm thinking the banks don't really care. They're already giving out high risk loans. I mean, just look at the student debt. Just one, look at the student debt. So they're already giving out high loans. And Trump is trying to do something to address the credit card debt. He's trying to do something to address the individual debt that people are drowning under. And the credit card debt is crushing them, especially when you're delinquent and late. And it just gets more crushing and crushing. So Trump is trying to stop the crushing impact of the credit card companies. Now, the larger issue here is the economy is bad. That's the problem. We have a bad economy. And that's why you have to have a policy like this. So it's been kind of funny watching the people bicker about this, the people that come out in support of it, the people that are against it. I can understand from the financial aspect and maybe even the free market aspect of this to say this is not good policy. But I think this is supportive of the American people. I think that that's what this is. This is a policy that will support the American people and that are already bailing out the financial institutions, that are already bailing out the big banks. So, maybe it's okay. But then on the reverse side, you say, well, if they start denying loans to people they consider high risk, well, then that can be a problem. Well, let's see if that happens. Let's see if that happens. I don't know if that'll happen or not. We shall see. But to me, it's Trump trying to do something about the crushing credit card debt. And I think that that's a good thing. I think that it's a good thing. Now, it's sad that our economy is in a state where you have to look at this and say, oh my gosh, people are paying 30% credit card debt. What can I do? Or it's sad that the economy is in a state where people feel like unless you can get a loan from a bank, then you have no upward mobility. But that's where we're at. So he makes that announcement over the weekend. He makes this announcement today. Again, we're on the economy here. The actual numbers that we would have to pay back if for any reason the Supreme Court were to rule against the United States of America on tariffs would be many hundreds of billions of dollars. And that doesn't include the amount of payback that countries and companies would require for the investments they are making on building plants, factories, and equipment for the purpose of being able to avoid the payment of tariffs. When these investments are added, we are talking about trillions of dollars. It would be a complete mess and almost impossible for our country to pay. Anybody who says that it can be quickly and easily done would be making a false, inaccurate, or totally misunderstood answer to this very large and complex question. It may not be possible, but if it were, it would be dollars that would be so large that it would take many years to figure out what number we are talking about and even who, when, and where to pay. Remember, when America shines brightly, the world shines brightly. In other words, if the Supreme Court rules against the United States of America on this national security bonanza, we are screwed. By the way, you've got this in the Supreme Court with the tariffs, and then you've also got the trans in sports. I don't know how we're still dealing with that. There's men's sports and there's women's sports. Well, now the Supreme Court is trying to interpret what that means. And with the genius, with the sheer intellectual prowess of a Judge Jackson, I'm sure they'll get this one straight. I'm sure they'll get this one right. I'm sure it'll be a sweep even. No, that's wild. I think right now where it stands, the tariffs are kind of a neutral. Now, as far as these numbers are concerned, I don't know who really knows. And it sounds like Trump is admitting that nobody really knows. It's just this new policy, and there's probably been millions of transactions, hundreds of millions of transactions that are affected by this policy. So trying to reverse calculate that is almost an impossible thing. So I don't know. We'll see what the Supreme Court decides, but it sounds like for them to reverse this, nobody even understands. Nobody will even be able to calculate what it actually means. But you'll see the people that talk great about these tariffs. And I understand where Rand Paul comes from. As a conservative financial policy wonk, you are against tariffs. And that is true. It's a tax. It is a tax. It's another word for tax. So as a conservative financial policy wonk, you would be against tariffs. But unfortunately, when you're looking at the international trade, you don't really have control over that. So when we're getting tariffed, you almost have to use tariffs as, equilibrium or even as leverage. Now, the problem for the United States is we've been sold out by Congress and our major corporations for about 50 years. So we're trying to play 50 years worth of catch up. Trump is trying to play 50 years worth of catch up in a single year. So anybody that tells you that these tariffs are not having a negative impact on the economy, they're just not being fully honest. You're just not talking to business owners. There are plenty of business owners that are being affected negatively by these tariffs. It's an increase to bring in the goods that they sell. Some of them have decided they're not going to pay the tariffs. So you have a lot of goods just sitting on pallets, not going anywhere, sitting in foreign countries, sitting at the border, not going anywhere, sitting in ports. So a lot of people have decided they're not going to pay the tariffs, or they're holding off paying them as long as they can or want. So there is this stall, there is this backlog of people that aren't paying the tariffs. So no, there is a bit of a negative impact. Now, if that was the isolated impact, you would say it's negative. The positive impact is that in some of these industries, like maybe, raw materials, natural resources, the tariffs are forcing the United States of America to produce these goods again, to produce raw materials and resources. And that takes a while to catch up, but that is happening. So it's promoting American manufacturing, production, raw materials, resources. But in the interim, the people that have relied on imports either can't afford the tariffs or won't pay them. It's causing a backlog, and they're having to reshape their business model. So it's a process. It's a process. I see what Trump's vision is. It's a painful course to get through, but this is where we're at. And he seems to think this Supreme Court decision is going to be make or break as far as that fiscal policy is concerned. So a lot of big things on the Supreme Court. So that's like a real big thing that we'll see. I don't know how Trump loses that one, to be honest. I don't know. Because if he loses it, I feel like there's even more precedent than just the tariff policy at stake here. I think everything becomes at stake. Foreign policy and decisions, war. I think everything kind of becomes open for interpretation if they lose that case with the Supreme Court. I have a feeling there'll be other things in front of the Supreme Court that will affect this administration's policy. But if they win, then it'll be the exact opposite. I think it might provide clearance for the administration to engage in a lot of the foreign policies that otherwise may end up with lawsuits at the Supreme Court. And then it'll be nice as that major serious decision is being contemplated by the Supreme Court. They're also trying to decide what men's and women's sports are. We're still unclear on that. We're not quite sure. Men's and women's bathrooms. What does it all mean? I don't know. I need the Supreme Court to tell me. Men's and women's sports. What is the difference? What does it all mean? I'm confused. Certainly Judge Brown Jackson, Ketanji Brown Jackson, who doesn't even know what a woman is. Maybe she can figure it out for us. That's who we're going to be relying on. The judge that doesn't even know what a woman is. She was stunned by that question. Froze, solid, didn't know what to do. So a lot of back and forth between the Fed, Jerome Powell, and the Trump administration. Yellen is weighing in. Bessent is weighing in. Seems like there's a pressure tactic being applied here. At least that's what Powell is saying in his final weeks as the Fed chair. Fed Chair Jerome Powell says he's under criminal investigation, won't bow to Trump intimidation. Criminal investigation of Jerome Powell. That's interesting. Federal Reserve Chair Jerome Powell is under federal criminal investigation related to the $2.5 billion renovation of the central bank's headquarters and his congressional testimony about it. This is an incredible. I got to give it to the Trump administration. They basically let him set his own trap. You may remember the renovation videos, and Trump goes down there in the hard hat, and he's doing it all with Powell. And then they had that one moment in front of the press where Trump basically slam dunked him and said, this guy's an idiot. But he did it. He said he needed $2.5 billion. So here we are. So now they basically kind of just stepped aside, let him do it. And now they're coming back and they're saying, well, you know what? Actually, we need to investigate that. It is $2.5 billion. So I'm looking at this. Folks, the largest structures, the most expensive structures in the world are going for about $1 billion. All right. We're talking about the biggest skyscrapers in the world. We're talking about the most high-tech advanced stadiums in the world. You're looking at about $1 billion and a half. Okay. So some of the largest, most high-tech structures on the planet, you're looking at about $1 billion and a half. So how this building is $2.5 billion is mind-blowing. The only thing I can figure is it's got to be some sort of a digital security system. There has to be some tech going into this. That is why it's so astronomical. But it still doesn't add up. So, okay, let's go ahead and look into that. Powell said that the probe was the result of the Fed setting interest rates based on our best assessment of what will serve the public rather than following the preferences of President Donald Trump. I'm not sure how many people believe that. Oh, the Fed is serving the public now. Yes. Senator Tom Tillis, and banking committee member, said he would oppose any nominees by Trump to replace Powell and any Fed board nominee until this legal matter is fully resolved. Well, that's not good news. So now it looks like some people are going to be using this against Trump before he can even replace the Fed chair. So more drama here. The White House was celebrating today. Caroline Leavitt posted a statement today. They're celebrating. Mortgage rates are under 6% for the first time in years. Oh, yay. Under 6%. Congratulations. You're just getting raked over the coals for 6%. Should never be over 3%, but Americans can't afford a home. Banks can't afford to loan you money for a home. So what a mess. Speaking of mess, you know the Clintons are supposed to be testifying this week. Do you know that? In the Epstein probe. Now, they've been delaying this. They've been delaying this for over a month. Bill and Hillary Clinton face contempt of Congress for dodging on Epstein subpoenas again. Bill and Hill are facing contempt of Congress charges if they don't appear before a House committee next week. This is this week now to testify in the Epstein investigation. The couple was originally scheduled to testify before the House Oversight Committee in December, but those appearances were moved to January 13th for Bill and 14th for Hill at the request of the couple who cited they had a personal conflict. But now they haven't confirmed they will be there this week. Representative James Comer, the chairman of the panel, said he'll slap them with contempt of Congress if they don't show. Well, this has always been a toothless endeavor for the Republicans, their contempt charges. Just ask Hunter Biden. The Clintons have not confirmed their appearances for the subpoenaed depositions. They are obligated under the law to appear, and we expect them to do so. If the Clintons do not appear for their depositions, the House Oversight Committee will initiate a contempt of Congress proceeding. Well, we have heard this before, and it's usually toothless. But you know what? It's a big story anyway. The Clintons are going to dodge. It looks like the Clintons are going to dodge the Epstein subpoena. Do you, who here thinks that Bill is going to show up tomorrow? Anybody got your money on Bill showing up tomorrow to be questioned in the Epstein investigation? What about Hillary on Wednesday? Anybody putting any bets on that? I wouldn't. They ought to do it publicly. They want to do all this stuff behind closed doors. It's time to stop. It's time to just do it publicly. Let's just have it. Let's just have it for the whole world to see. And can we get something on the Biden crime family as well? Can we get something on the Biden crime family selling this country out? Because we know those auto pen pardons are no good now. So can we get something? Like to get something on that. Quickly, just, you know what? No context here, but we got this for you. Trump on Venezuelan oil then versus now.
But now we're buying oil from Venezuela, so we're making a dictator very rich. Can you believe this? Nobody can believe it. You know where the oil, their oil is garbage. It's horrible. The worst you can get. Tar. It's like tar. And to refine it, you need special plants. And this Venezuelan oil, which is a heavy oil, very good oil, great oil. It's fantastic for certain things like asphalt roads. Best there is in the world for asphalt roads and other things. But now we're buying oil from Venezuela, so we're making a dictator very rich. Can you?
So there you go. Oh, it's the worst oil in the world. It's the best oil in the world. And the funny thing is, he's the one that sanctioned Venezuela and Venezuelan oil in 2019. He did that, and maybe he forgot, because you remember in the cabinet meeting, he asked, was it Chevron or Exxon? I can't remember. He asked one of them. He said, well, when did you guys stop getting access to the Venezuelan oil? He said, in 2019, after you sanctioned him, sir. And it was kind of like, oh. So, the truth is probably somewhere in between. Whatever. It's Trump, the politician. He says what he needs to say. It doesn't matter if it's based in truth or not. It's just about advancing the agenda. So the oil is no good. He says we're sanctioning it. It's no good. Now the oil is the best in the world. We're moving in to take it and refine it. So it's probably not the best oil, but it serves its purpose, and we have the refineries that are needed to give it value. So that's basically what's happening. But there you go. All right, Marjorie Taylor Greene officially out, but ramping up the heat. She posted this, I guess, right after she woke up. She fired this one off. With nearly $40 trillion in government-forced debt or slavery, Americans can barely make ends meet. They are buried in debt of all kinds and can't financially get ahead. I really don't care about foreign countries. Of course, I care about people and wish them well, but I'm sick and tired of Americans being force-fed propaganda as to why we have to police and save this country and fight this war and that war. The American people need help, and that should be the full focus of the United States government. I don't know what Marjorie Taylor Greene's future in politics is or isn't, but this is the winning message. This is the winning message on both sides, by the way, folks. It's the winning message on the so-called left and whatever the right is. The non-neocon right, at least. And this weekend, this didn't make the final cut of my content, but since we mentioned this with Marjorie Taylor Greene, we had a protest here in Austin. Actually, had a couple protests. We had an ICE protest that the cops basically just shut that thing down almost immediately. So that got put to rest pretty much after it took its first breath. The cops here just said, not happening. So, okay. Good job. Good job. I don't want to see it. I'm not interested in it. But First Amendment rights, okay. We're walking the tightrope. But you know what? We dealt with it enough. I don't need these leftists running around. I don't need them starting riots. I don't need them disrupting traffic. So shut it down. I'm okay with it. Just shut it down. But then we had a protest yesterday. Now, okay, so I obviously live in Austin, Texas. Austin it's a liberal town. It's a blue town. It's not as overwhelmingly liberal as people would have you believe. It's definitely liberal. It's definitely got its leftist bent. But it's not as radical liberal as you might think. But as far as like right-wing politics are concerned or right-wing movements, you're stuck in a vacuum. It's very little right-wing action is going down in Austin, let's just say. You might have some stuff at the Capitol, but as far as, the movement of people or events or rallies or anything like that, it's very rare. But then magically this weekend, there's a right-wing event at the Capitol. And you know what it is? It's a bunch of people out in front of the Capitol supporting the regime change in Iran. And you know what they're doing? They're waving Iranian flags and Israeli flags. I'm so fed up, man. I'm so done. I'm to the point now. And you kind of say this facetiously because you want to be politically consistent. But these are just the thoughts that come into my head. I'm like, I'm to the point now where I just want to ban all foreign flags. I'm so sick of this shit. I don't want to see your foreign flag. I don't want to see it. I'm done. If you want to wave a foreign flag in this country, you're going to jail. How about that? I'm a right-wing extremist now. I'm sick of your damn foreign flags. This is America. You should be ashamed to wave a foreign flag. What happened to American pride? What happened to American patriotism? I thought you came here to be an American. I thought that's what it was all about. And I have to go downtown and see a bunch of people waving foreign flags? I'm sick of it. I'm done. If you don't want to support America, then get the hell out. We're not here to support Iran. The United States of America was not created to support Iran or Israel or anywhere else on the face of the earth. What has happened to our country? What has happened to our people? It should be unthinkable to wave a foreign flag. If you get caught waving a foreign flag in public, you shouldn't be able to show your face at church, at school, at the gym. Everybody should look at you and hit you with the side eye, hit you with the stink face. Oh, isn't that Tom over there? Yeah. Oh my gosh. Did you see Tom this weekend? He was waving a foreign flag at the Capitol. Oh yeah, I did see that. He posted it on social media. How despicable. What a traitor. What a piece of trash. Un-American dirty commie waving a foreign flag. He ought to go to that foreign country. That should be the response. It shouldn't even be a thought. It shouldn't even be a thought to wave a foreign flag in this country. I'll ban production of foreign flags. I'll sign an executive order. All foreign flags are banned from production in this country. If you want to make flags, American only. Now, okay, it's a little facetious, right? We all support the First Amendment, okay? I'm sick and damn tired of this crap. And I'm sitting here watching the right wing support all of this garbage. We're the American patriots. We're the right wing. You guys sit here and you wave foreign flags just as much as the left wing does. Please, stop it. Hey, did anybody, I am curious about this. Maybe I even open the chat. Do I dare look at the chat for this? Did anybody order a Trump phone? Now, I don't know. There's like nothing. It's almost impossible to find any real information on this, other than we all saw it happen in the rollout and people bought it. But I don't know anybody that has a Trump phone. Apparently, almost 500,000 people purchased the Trump mobile phone. Apparently, nobody's even received it. They took orders summer of last year. Now, as far as the tech, or if it's some remade Temu phone like these people are saying, I don't know. I don't know anybody that's ordered one. I'm going to look in the chats. Did anybody order a Trump phone? Did anybody order a Trump phone and not get it? I'm just curious. This would be worse than the NFT. This would be worse than the crypto coin rug pull. I'm not seeing anybody. Nobody, huh? Nobody got your, nobody ordered it. Well, somebody did. Somebody ordered the Trump phone. And apparently didn't get it. Well, that's going to be tough. Maybe they accidentally sanctioned it. Maybe it was one of those deals. By the way, the administration is now doing regular, I guess this is going to be a weekly thing. This is great. The president of peace, peace around the world. The Department of War is now doing a weekly situation report. So the Department of War is going to be doing a weekly situation report on all the different wars we're involved in because it's the peace administration, you see. You see how that works? So stay tuned for that. Yeah. I always knew it would come back to this, guys. I said it, and it just keeps coming true. It's always going to come back to 9/11. This whole foreign policy dispute, and specifically in the Middle East, it's all going to come back to 9/11. Representative Don Bacon over the weekend, I have no problem with our military killing terrorists overseas. And he shares a picture of 9/11. So, of course, you have to believe the official narrative of 9/11 to think that this is some sort of a intellectual, philosophical foreign policy statement here in defense of nation. But, of course, I don't know. Where are people at on the 9/11 thing? It's all going to come back to it. Nobody goes from – because here's the trend. It only moves one direction. Nobody goes from not believing the official narrative to believing the official narrative. It always goes from believing the official narrative into not believing the official narrative. So it's only a matter of time before you cross the threshold of a majority here that don't believe the official narrative. And maybe we already have. But eventually it's going to all go to this. Because when they lose the debate on foreign policy, which is all they do, they always have to land back on 9/11, because how can you argue against responding to 9/11? How can you not support any measure of response in response to 9/11? Well, when you don't believe that you know the truth about it, that's how. So that's just inevitable, I would say. All right. Now, as we close out the first hour, here's what we're going to do. You guys are going to be upset. We're not going to play our normal break music today. I know this is going to crush your souls. We're not going to play our normal break music today because you guys love the break music so much, and I don't blame you. But here's what we're going to do. We're going to close out the first hour here. And instead of doing music for a break, we're going to take a 5-minute break with a old Charlie Kirk segment from June of last year, talking about intervention in Iran. That's what we're going to do. And, I feel that it's, how can I say this? I want to be careful because the reason why I'm playing this Charlie Kirk clip, I don't want to do the lowbrow stuff, which is like, use the dead for your own purposes. So that's not what is happening here. I don't like that. I think that's classless. I think that's tasteless. But I'm not the one doing that. We all see who's trying to use Charlie Kirk, now deceased. We're all seeing who's trying to use his likeness and his image for foreign propaganda. So this is me just responding to it. This is how Charlie Kirk really felt about foreign policy before he died, and everybody knows it. So this is me responding to what I think the creeps, the ghouls on the right that are trying to use Charlie Kirk's likeness to support this foreign policy that he didn't support. So those are ghoulish figures. So we'll play a little bit of that. We'll play a little bit of that instead of playing your favorite video game music before we get started on our content for the second hour.
You're listening to the Owen Report on the Win Network.
Well, folks, you may have seen it. You may have seen it that recently now silver and gold are topping out commodities. They are topping them out. More people are buying and looking at silver and gold maybe than ever before. So what are you doing? Are you getting in on this? Are you ahead of the curve? Are you behind the curve? Are you paying attention to the curve? Do you see what's going on with the curve? We're trying to keep you up to date. We're trying to keep you up to date, and we're trying to allow you to get in with our friends at Allegiance Gold. So they want to know, what are you doing to protect your wealth? What are you doing to protect your finances? It's not just the rise of gold and silver that we're all witnessing right now, but it's also the fact that the dollar is losing value. The stock market is extremely volatile. Banks are getting bailed out. All of this points to one thing. People are moving to gold. So the only question is when? When are you going to do it? Is it going to be too late? We're already seeing the numbers, folks. So our friends at Allegiance.gold, you go to protectwithowen.com, and you're going to find out they're offering $5,000 in free gold and silver with qualified investments. Whether it's your 401k, IRA, savings, they make it simple to move into gold or silver before the next who knows what happens with the economy. But they want to educate you first. They want to talk to you first. They want to answer your questions. They want to make sure you're very comfortable with the decisions you're making, and that's what you should want. So they also want you to give them a call. Talk to them first. 844-790-9191, 844-790-9191, or go to protectwithowen.com. Allegiance Gold has been around for nearly a decade, trusted by over 7,000 clients nationwide, relationship-driven, A+ with the Better Business Bureau. And they want to educate you first. So give them a call, 844-790-9191, or go to protectwithowen.com. Protect your wealth and your freedom because no one else will. Okay. We take the first break of the show, and I want to go to this Charlie Kirk clip as we see everything that is happening in Iran. Let's take a break with Charlie Kirk, and we'll be back on the other side.
Let's do some updates about Israel and Iran and potentially the United States. On one side is the Lindsey Graham, John Bolton types, where they are actively calling for regime change. Here is Lindsey Graham. This is just lunacy. This kind of analysis is not helpful. This kind of approach, this kind of argument, it has nothing to do with nuclear weapons at this point. This is now that we want to go all in and take out the regime. It's time for us to close the chapter on the Iranian Ayatollah and his henchmen and start a new chapter in the Middle East. And that sounds good, doesn't it? But what have we learned when it comes to wars, and especially wars in the Middle East? What you draw up on a whiteboard rarely happens. What you think theoretically is going to occur, there might be unintended and unforeseen consequences, especially when you're talking about a country 2.5 times the size of Texas. It has 90 million people and was an ancient and great power with well over a dozen ethnic groups. You have underground Christians. You don't really have many Jews left in Persia. But also you have secular younger Persians. Who's going to run the country exactly, Lindsey Graham? This sounds like Hillary Rodham Clinton in Libya. So I'm pointing to the first extreme right now, the neoconservative extreme. The we must go take off the head of the snake right now. Play cut 285.
Be all in, President Trump, in helping Israel eliminate the nuclear threat. If we need to provide bombs to Israel, provide bombs. If we need to fly planes with Israel, do joint operations. But here's the bigger question. Wouldn't the world be better off if the Ayatollahs went away and replaced by something better? Wouldn't Iran be better off? It's time to close the chapter on the Iranian Ayatollah and his henchmen. Let's close that chapter soon and start a new chapter in the Mideast, one of tolerance, hope, and peace.
Okay, that sounds good, but that's pathologically insane. I'm sorry, it is. How do you know it's going to be better? Yeah, the Ayatollah is awful. But maybe he's one of the few guys that can keep that country together and not have a 90 million person civil war. Lindsey Graham is so consistently out of his mind, it's hard to even comprehend. Iran is hugely diverse. It is a massive country. Do the people agitating for war even know that? Because be clear, regime change is war. Just to understand, regime change is not like changing the head coach at the Chicago Bears. It's not how it works. It's not like a clean transfer. Typically in the Mideast, it's very messy, creates a quagmire, and then there is civil war. Do you understand how large Iran is? It's massive. It's a very big country. It's mountainous. It makes Afghanistan and Iraq look like a cakewalk. Just look at this beast of a country with all the different regions, all the different dialects, if we could put that up on screen. And then you have a major refugee concern of Mohammedans that will come to Europe and endanger more Christians than Jews, and Mohammedans that will come to America. No, that is wrong. So that is one extreme. The other extreme is one that I have deep respect and reverence for, because I actually think if we had that other extreme, we would not have invaded Iraq. This other extreme is philosophically important. It's important to consider, and that's the Ron Paul extreme. And I love Ron Paul. Ron Paul is awesome. I would have Ron Paul on the show regularly. He is a hero because Ron Paul had the courage to challenge old sacred cows of the Republican Party. He made people defend the indefensible. But the Ron Paul perspective is strictly isolationist. I actually agree with a lot of this other extreme. A lot. I think it's healthy to have this other extreme more than the neoconservative extreme, because this extreme has been underrepresented in the public dialogue and discourse the last 20 years. So you have these two extremes. I honestly don't think the neoconservative extreme needs to be represented philosophically anymore. It's uninteresting to me. They've done a mess of Iraq, Afghanistan, Libya, the entire Middle East, Ukraine. We know what the neoconservatives believe. I do think hearing out, and honestly, I agree with a lot of the more, I think isolationist is used as a pejorative, but let's just say restrained community. Take out the Ayatollah. Resist that temptation. That's not prudence. That's not self-control. That's something else talking. That's a zeal. And that very same zeal got us involved in a pile of garbage in Iraq. It all felt good with shock and awe in March of 2003. We're unstoppable. We're going to take Iraq in a weekend. Turns out, it didn't work that way. A lot of people died. A lot of Americans died unnecessarily.
Political light years ahead of the rest. It's the Owen Report with Owen Schroyer.
Checking on my Trump phone. No, still don't have it. Never got that Trump phone. Did they ever build that wall? They were supposed to build a donor wall and put everybody's name on it. I was supposed to have a nice name on the wall. Never did that either. Maybe someday. Maybe someday. All right, guys. Here's what we're gonna do now. And I really had to whittle this down for today's show because it was so overwhelming. The amount of propaganda that the American right has fallen for and shared over the weekend is truly incredible. And I don't even know if it's worth saying this, but we'll just throw that out there. What's just as incredible as the propaganda, because it's like to a certain extent, to a certain degree, it's like, all right, people fall for propaganda. It happens. And you're much more susceptible when it's something that you think you support or that you think you're supposed to support, whatever. It's a lot easier to fall for propaganda when it's on your side. And when the agents of propaganda are using the most tried and true methodology, the most tried and true tactics to get you to like what you're seeing, it's tough. It is tough. It's tough. You have to be really sharp of mind. You have to have a really trained eye to recognize this stuff, and then have the fortitude to stand up and call out what it is. And so this seems to be an issue that we're having on the right. I've got so much of this today. Let me just kind of, this is what's, I don't even know where we're going here, to be quite frank. Now, Batar Worldwide it's a Jewish organization. They have chapters all over the world. They have chapters in America. I've spoke to the chapter leaders in New York City. It's been around for over 100 years. They fight for Jewish pride, Jewish defense, Jewish sovereignty, Israel-based, chapters worldwide. And, for the most part, those guys are probably just like any other red-blooded American. But obviously, they feel a certain way about issues in the Middle East. And this is where we're at. This is where we're at from the Israel side of this. So this is an American, by the way, Ms. Rachel, who does children's content, family-friendly children's content, and she's had a couple of episodes that are, you might say, supportive of the Palestinian people, maybe even cause, if you want to go that far. I don't know if she's really made any political statements about it, but she supports the children. She doesn't like seeing dead children, and she has brought into her show, and she has visited with some of the children that have been mangled by the war in Gaza. So she brings this children on. She shows the world these children that have had their legs blown off and, scars in their head, whatever. She brings them into her studio, hugs them, and does some events with them. And so this drove the right wing mad. This drove the Israeli lobby mad. This drove the Zionists mad, because how dare this woman who's very popular show the world what Israel is doing to children? So this drove them crazy. This is how crazy they are now. So this is the Batar worldwide account. Their handle is Batar USA. Send Miss Rachel to get down on her knees like this in Gaza. Terrorist lover jihad. We wish jihad on her. Folks, it's literally just a video of her hugging a child. It's a video of Ms. Rachel hugging a child, and they say, we declare jihad on you. They want her dead. They want to blow her up in Gaza. Folks, you have to understand the psychology. You have to understand the psychological element of the people that you're dealing with and that you're siding with. So it's like, try to be rational here. You support Israel. All right. You support the Zionists. Okay. What is this? This is psychotic behavior. And the only rationale that I can figure of why you would do this is you've had such hatred has driven you to such a level that you now act completely irrationally. It's likely everybody listening to this has experienced that at some point in your life, where somebody is so filled with hate and rage that they act completely irrationally. That's what this is. Why would you declare jihad on Ms. Rachel and share the video of her hugging a child like this is how we're introducing our hatred of a woman for hugging a child? So the only thing I can figure here is that they know that Israel's cause is a dying cause. They know that what Israel is doing in the Gaza Strip specifically is doing so much damage to the Israel cause over the world. And they've hemorrhaged so much support in the West because of the death and destruction, specifically at children in the Gaza Strip, that they're freaking out that you can see it. And there was an interview. I cut it from the show's content, but Netanyahu had an interview in Europe, go figure. And the interviewers actually asked him, what about the dead journalists in Gaza? And why do you block journalists from going in? And he basically panicked. He was flummoxed. He didn't know what to do. He didn't know what to say. Because normally, I guess, when they do interviews like that, the thing is so controlled that he doesn't have to answer those questions. But to me, that's what this shows. And I'm just like, hey, guys, you can be rational here. You can support Israel. You can support Israel's right to self-defense. You can support Israel and its war and not support killing children. Like, you can do that, right? You don't have to support or defend killing children. You know that, right? Like, you can defend innocent children not getting killed in a war. It's okay. But it's this weird psychological thing that we've witnessed now that just keeps getting worse and worse. So to me, it's fear. It's fear-based. That they've done so much damage. Israel has done so much damage to its own cause and to its own people. What it's doing in the Gaza Strip, killing children, that now the only response is to go to double down. Right? They can't sit back and say, okay, maybe we messed up. Maybe we went too far. We apologize for these dead kids. They can't admit that. They will never admit that they've ever done anything wrong. They could kill 1 million children and they say, no, we didn't do it. It's not wrong if we did. But this to me is the moment. It's like they have lost touch. They've lost the human element. They've lost their soul to such an extent that they're calling for jihad on Ms. Rachel, and they share a video of her hugging a child like, see, this is why we hate her. This is why we hate Ms. Rachel, because she loves children. No. You guys hate Ms. Rachel because she has exposed all of the children that Israel has killed and mangled in the Gaza Strip. And instead of apologizing for that, or instead of even supporting Israel and saying, yeah, maybe they've gone too far, it's really tragic, or, well, it's a sad side effect or collateral in this war, and I don't support it, but it is what it is. No, they just double down. They triple down. They say more dead kids. They call for jihad against you if you don't support dead kids. How can anybody side with this now? That's what I'm saying. It's like, how can any rational American sit here, even if you're pro-Israel, and say, okay, you guys celebrate dead kids and you attack people that side with innocent children? Okay, I'll take your side. What is going on? But this is where most of the propaganda is aimed at now. It's to get you to support Israel's foreign policy that they, you got to give it to Israel. I mean, let's give them credit where credit is due. They have successfully worn the United States of America as like a skin suit to do all of this crap in the Middle East. And America is like the skin suit and the bodyguard. And so the American people think it's our cause or it's our good. And it's really just all Israel running the whole thing. This is why they buy Congress. This is why everybody goes and kisses the wall. This is why they call it the greatest ally. This is why they're tied into us via the military-industrial complex. This is why they false flag. This is why they want you to hate Muslims. It's all the same propaganda so that Israel can wear America as a skin suit, have America as a bodyguard, do the most dastardly, disgusting, despicable things in the Middle East to accomplish their agenda. And then people just turn around and think it's America. And then if you dare say, hey, what's going on? Why is Israel behind this? They call you an anti-Semite. They call you a conspiracy theorist. So if you're an Israeli and you see this, it's like, wow, damn, our leadership is really covert, aren't they? They are really good at getting away with this stuff. But the mask is slipping. The mask of sanity is slipping. The mask of decency is slipping. And so then you have this over the weekend, and this is the big one. And this is where it's incredible to watch the right wing do this. So over the weekend, they're all sharing this video of a girl, this image of a girl lighting a cigarette with Khamenei's picture. And the whole purpose of this, and I'm going to show you the overwhelming evidence, and this is not even half of what I could have shown you today, folks, but you've all seen it. I don't think I really need to convince you of this, especially if you're on social media. They're sharing this image of a woman, and they're saying, look, this is the image of the Iranian people. This is the image of Iranian women breaking free of the authoritarian regime. Well, let's go ahead and take a look here. And there's a lot more of this as far as who this woman really is. But we'll just give it quickly right here. So this is the woman. She is a self-proclaimed radical feminist. She is a Canadian. She is a Canadian radical feminist. Okay? That's who this is. And these images of her lighting a cigarette with a picture of Khamenei date back to 2022. Okay? Now, there's some debate over the original image, but people have dated it back to 2022. Now, again, there's debates about this, and tags, as far as time are concerned on the internet, can be skewed and misrepresented. So there might be a debate about when this was originally posted, but people have dated it back to 2022. Okay? But there is no debate that this is not from Iran, and she is not an Iranian woman. She is quite literally a Canadian feminist. And maybe I can find some of the other stuff, because people have found other stuff about her. I believe she admitted that she is actually Jewish in a separate post. So she's, but I don't have that in front of me, so I don't want to make that claim. But I do believe I saw that too. I'd have to go through my stack here to try to find it. I might be able to do it rather quickly, actually. But the point is, all of these people were sharing that image, and I'm going to show you. I'm going to show you a lot of these people, some of the biggest names on the right, some of the biggest accounts on the right, all sharing this. And she's not even Iranian. Oh, here's another one for you. Here's the same account. Palestine never existed, just a part of Israel anyway. Same girl. So there you go. So I don't know. Maybe she was AstroTurf from the beginning. I think I've proven my point there. So all of these people, just like the Venezuela, just like the fake Venezuela videos, they're sharing videos from Florida. They're sharing videos from Chile. They're sharing year-old videos. They're sharing videos outside of World Cup games. And they're saying, look, this is Venezuela. All lies. And none of them erased the video. None of them corrected the record. None of them apologized. None of them retracted. They just shared straight up foreign war propaganda. And now they did the exact same thing with this woman. And they come up with these memes. Which way, Western man? And it's your radical feminist over here that we just saw in Minnesota, and then it's your radical feminist over here. They're both radical feminists. Which way, Western man? Radical feminist or radical feminist? Now, I posted this, and this was just from my own experience, because in the original, when this all started breaking, and they were claiming this was an Israeli woman, you kind of just, your first instinct is, okay, here's an Iranian woman. And I said, I can't wait till we find out this woman is a feminist. Can't wait till we find out she's a liberal feminist. Now, the reason I posted that before all of this information about her came out, this was in the initial phase when I saw this, I said, oh, she's going to come out. It's going to be found out she's a feminist. So even I, at this point, thought this was an Iranian woman in Iran doing this. Now, the only reason I say that, and I'm not going to sit here and act like I have the most information, but from my experience, I met Iranian women because I dated a girl in college that was a foreign student. And when you're a foreign student, you kind of create your friend group with other foreign students, and they have all these different ways for you to do outreach and stuff. So you meet a bunch of other foreign students. So you've got a little community before you get kind of introduced to the new country, the new city that you're in. So I was dating a foreign student, and I hung out with all the other foreign students, and there were a handful of Iranian women in that group. And they were all radical leftists. They were all radical leftist women. They hated my politics. They looked at me as a right-wing misogynist pig because I was a Trump supporter. So I actually had an experience. Now, these women obviously hated their government. And that would always be the big gotcha things like, oh, you probably support the Iranian regime. I'm like, no, not at all. Like, oh, well, yeah, okay. So I already had an experience with these Iranian women that don't like Khamenei. They were radical leftist feminist liberals. Now, that's a very tiny, narrow scope, but that was my experience with them, so I just kind of applied it to the world. That's the human element. That's the human nature. And then it ended up turning out to be true. But so here we go. So now you know. The woman in the picture is a Canadian woman. The picture might not even be from this year. The picture might be 5 years old. The video, the picture is all from Canada, and the girl is a Zionist. Now, if you knew all of that information before you shared the video, would the video still hit? If you knew all of that information before the image went viral and became the image of the revolution, would it still hit the same? Or would you be like, yeah, that's straight up propaganda, isn't it? But here we go. So here we go. Here we go. Ellie Conaheim, big account. Combat. She is the U.S. Deputy Envoy to combat anti-Semitism. She says, this is the photo of the revolution. It's a Canadian in Canada. Still up. Not deleted. Laura Logan. She's an award-winning investigative journalist. I like Laura, by the way. Laura Logan. Please, God, protect these brave women. This woman is in Canada. There's nothing brave about what this woman is doing at all. She's in Canada. And this was shot in Canada likely years ago. That's an award-winning journalist telling you to support this woman as if she's an Iranian standing up in Iran today. She's not. Post is still up. Here's one of the biggest news outlets in France, Visegrad. 1.5 million followers. Iranian women are done with Ayatollah Khamenei. It's not an Iranian woman. They're sharing you non-Iranian women. Post is still up. Here's Gad Saad. This should become an iconic poster, again, as if this is an Iranian woman that was in Iran while this is all going on. It's a Canadian woman in Canada. Post is still up. Dinesh D'Souza. Same thing. Acting like this is a Muslim woman. It's not a Muslim woman. It's a leftist, feminist, Zionist in Canada. Acts like it's a Muslim woman in Iran standing up to the regime. It's not. Post is still up. Catching a common thread here. Sebastian Gorka, your moral rectitude will be measured by your reaction to this warrior. This warrior, this Canadian woman, this Canadian feminist, this Zionist Canadian feminist that likely took that picture years ago. My moral rectitude is measured by my reaction to that. What does that have to do with anything? Of course, it has nothing to do with anything. This is straight up propaganda. So actually, Sebastian, your integrity is measured by what you say when you share this image, and you have no integrity. And this is the Deputy Assistant to the President, Director for Counterterrorism, National Security Council, sharing foreign war propaganda and says, I'm going to judge you on how you respond to this. And it's literally foreign war propaganda. Post is still up. Clay Travis. By the way, there are notes on this now. This has almost 3 million views. Clay Travis. Iranian woman lights her cigarette with a burning photo of the Ayatollah. This is braver than anything an American feminist has done in the 21st century. She's literally an American feminist. This is literally a North American feminist in Canada. Post is still up. Ian Miles Chong. I can't believe they force these girls to cover up. They don't. They don't. Post is still up. And here's your proof. This is from Dahlia Kurtz. She's sharing this. Turns out this from Tehran is an old video. This has nothing to do with the recent war. But she shares this old video of Iranian women dancing and waving their hair in the streets. Folks, this is regular. Okay? You've been lied to about Iran. So this is Dahlia Kurtz. This is her profile here. Jew, grandchild of Holocaust survivor, journalist. author of Dear Zionist, You Are Not Alone, Israeli flag in the bio. She says, this is from Iran, women celebrating what's going on in Tehran right now. Folks, this is a year-old video, okay? And these girls never have to cover their hair up. It's just an outright lie. And again, I'm not even claiming like I'm some sort of an expert on this. I'm not. But I will tell you, a good outlet to learn about this is Syrian Girl. And she just went to Iran. She just went to Tehran. And you know how much coverage she had to put on her head and put on her face and put on her hair? 0. And she walked around the city. She walked around the malls. She walked around the shopping centers, and she never put anything over her face or head. Not one time. Not once. So this is just normal activity. These are just Iranians dancing in the street, women waving their hair around, having fun. It has nothing to do, 0 zilch, nada to do with what's going on in Tehran. Nothing. They just lie. She just lies. Total lie. Total propaganda. J.K. Rowling. If you claim to support human rights, yet can't bring yourself to show solidarity with those fighting for liberty in Iran, you revealed yourself. You don't give a damn about people being oppressed and brutalized as long as it's being done by the enemies of your enemies. Now, I don't know what angle J.K. Rowling is taking with this. Okay. I don't know what the angle here is, but there she is spreading the propaganda. I guess the angle here is like, if you're against what Israel is doing in Gaza, then you must also be against what Iran is doing. I guess that's the pitch here, which is ironic because that hits the logical fallacy of the supporters of Israel. If you're against oppression in Iran, why aren't you against oppression in Gaza? Oh, it's war. Oh, okay, so then it's war. Gotcha. But there you go. 10 million views of the Canadian girl claiming she's Iranian. Oh, haha. I love this guy. This guy, he say, everybody say hi to Max. He's obsessed with me. I think he has a crush on me. Sorry, Max, I don't swing that way. But keep watching the show. Keep supporting the show. I know you follow me relentlessly. You're obsessed with me. And you're such a sleaze that you garner social media hits off of my name and likeness without even tagging me because you're a total sleaze. But that's okay. Thank you for tuning into the show. Thank you for following Sleaze Bag. So he says, are you surprised Owen Schroyer is siding with the Iranian government? Where am I siding with the Iranian government? And here's the post. He said, here's my post that he claims I'm supporting the Iranian government. I say, ask yourself, why and who force-fed a video of a radical feminist in Canada from 2022 into your timeline, making you think it was an Iranian woman in Iran? Show me where I have any support for the Iranian government. Show me right now, Max. I know you're tuning in. You're obsessed with me, probably have a crush with me. You don't miss a single breath I take. I'm honored. I'm honored. Show me where I've expressed any support for the Iranian government, specifically in that post. What I am expressing is I don't like the American people being propagandized with foreign war propaganda. But of course, Mr. Beeperhead, that's why you don't like me, because I expose your propaganda. And that's why you don't want to give me any actual attention to my account, because you're afraid that I'm getting bigger and more popular and more influential than you, a pathetic little grubworm. But keep tuning in, man. I appreciate it. And if you ever have the balls, you're welcome to come on the show even. If you could ever reach down and find your gonads, if they exist, come on the show. Come on the show. I'll give you the platform to expose me to the whole world, Max. Expose me. Never will. Here's Nicole Benham. I guess this is like a dating coach or something. She's just another person that gets famous showing off her body on the internet. Nicole Benham, big Israel supporter. Men are finally recognizing that Iranian women are hot in the way that Latin women are hot. Spicy. They talk back. You can feel the passion. The world stops. You are completely captured. There's no going back. What are you talking about? What does that even mean? Again, I've never been to Iran. I have a very limited experience with Iranian women, and it's not like that. I'll tell you that much. Not like that at all. But okay. Do you realize what they're doing, folks? How can you not recognize this propaganda? I've got more. How can you not recognize this propaganda? This is the oldest trick in the book. Sex sells. And it was Bernays in the 1920s that introduced the idea of a female smoking the cigarette. Bernays introduced the idea of sexualizing a woman smoking a cigarette and then pitching it to women, smoke a cigarette, you'll look sexy. And then men wanted to buy their female cigarettes. It was the sex appeal. Women wanted to smoke cigarettes. It was the cultural sex appeal. So Bernays literally is the one that started this propaganda 100 years ago of sexualizing women smoking a cigarette. And now they're using it for foreign war propaganda in the year 2026. And of course, it still works. The people still fall for it. It's working like a charm. But that's literally what this is. And it's funny, you see that post, they're admitting it. They're admitting they're selling you sex. They are selling you sex to support the regime change war in Iran. And it'll be great. What's the status in Iran? Do they have all? Don't worry. When they overthrow the regime in Iran, we will sexualize and turn all of your women into OnlyFans whores, just like we do in the West. Congratulations, Iran. I can't wait till all the porn companies move in and they sexualize the Iranian women and make them all OnlyFans whores. Congratulations. It'll be a great regime change war. And you'll get to see how sexy the women are. We're going to turn the Iranian women into whores like everywhere else. And that's their pitch. Sexualizing the movement, making it. Notice how every image they show you is a woman. They're not showing you images of men. They're not showing you images of the revolutionaries, the ideologues. There's no men. They're not showing you any men talking. They're not showing you the men that are actually doing this. It's all women. It's all sexy, young women, sexualizing them, smoking a cigarette. It's literally Bernays propaganda. It's literally selling you sex. It's literally the woman smoking the cigarette. You are literally being pushed the oldest trick in the book to sell you this regime change war. Doesn't work here. Here's more evidence. Again, folks, I could do this for hours. It's everywhere. Here's another example. This account, who nobody had ever seen or heard before, and now is getting millions of views because of this video. And what is it? It's a young girl, and they all do the Fox News. They all do the Fox News low cut, right? We all know what it is. They all do the Fox News low cut, just so you get a little idea. But I want you to watch this.
Many agree that the fate of Iran should be in the hands of the Iranian people.
She's reading a script.
However, the majority.
I want you to do this. I'm going to shut up. Folks, she is reading a script. Oh, yes, the flag in the background. The flag lapel pin. The necklace with the low-cut shirt, an account you've never seen before, a young girl now popping up to approve the regime change war, to get you to support the regime change war. And she's literally reading off a script. Watch her eyes. She's reading a script.
Many agree that the fate of Iran should be in the hands of the Iranian people. However, the majority of these same individuals and media outlets suddenly fall silent when the Iranian people are out on the streets chanting the name of their desired transitional leader, Reza Pahlavi, a man who champions the prospect of an Iran founded upon.
By the way, look into his father. He was not for women's rights. He was very against women's rights. I mean, it's just crazy.
On a secular democracy. So I record this video today to send one message to the world and its media. The Iranian people want Reza Pahlavi, whether it's among the older generations or.
Yes, of course. I'm sure the Iranian people wrote this script for you and gave you this script too.
Or across the youth, people like myself. Just a few months ago, the Islamic Republic detained and arrested Bita Shafei, an Iranian girl who was only 19 years old at the time of her detainment. Her reason for arrest? because she showed support for His Royal Highness online. But the Iranian people continue to fight regardless of the fact that with every yell for freedom, they are staring death directly in the face. And even then, they continue to use their dying breath to chant the name of Reza Pahlavi, a detail that the mainstream media conveniently decides to leave out. Well, I'm choosing to amplify the voice of Iranians and all of the words that
Wait, are you even Iranian?
many outlets refuse to cover. My name is Tara. I'm a 17-year-old Iranian American, and
She's an American.
support the Crown Prince.
Wow.
Javeed Shah.
So you're an Iranian American. So you're another hyphenized American. Have you ever even been to Iran? So that is total propaganda. You can see her reading off a script. And again, it's the same thing. Young girl, low cut top. This is all by design, folks. You are literally. So for a second, because I'm going to show you more of this, but just for a second, just like step back from the politics of it. It's just like, this is crazy. You are witnessing, you are watching total war propaganda. This is it. This is it. You are witnessing this. It's pretty amazing. I mean, this will be written about in history books. This will be taught in history classes. And that image of the girl and these videos and all this stuff, it's all going to be talked about how this was foreign war propaganda aimed at the American people to get you to support this war on behalf of a foreign country's interests. That's the history that you're witnessing right now. You're living it. You're living it. Now, the question is, do you understand what you're living, or are you eating the slop like the sheeple? Are you one of the sheeple that's eating the slop and bathing in the slop and falling for the slop and enjoying the propaganda, or are you awakened? Do you have the heightened sense of awareness that you understand that you're being propagandized here? So just, you take a second to appreciate it. You take a second that there were shadowy men sitting around trying to figure out how to convince the American people to support this regime change war, and they went with the 1920s Bernays girl smoking a cigarette, sexualize a girl smoking a cigarette, to then push that the American people to get them to support this war. And it worked. It worked like a charm. So just take a second to appreciate the history, the propaganda, everything that you're witnessing right now, because that's exactly what it is. Here's another one. Reading off a script. Same story. Dolled up, probably big fake lips, dolled up with the makeup. She's looking down at her script. Here we go. Reading the script. Another woman reading the script.
Hi, Iranian woman here. Back again to answer the number.
Yeah, that's an Iranian accent too, isn't it? That's an Iranian accent from Erica Le Bon. Listen to Erica Le Bon. So Iranian. She's so Iranian. You can hear it in her accent.
Number one question that I get asked all the time: why will the mainstream media not report on Iran, the uprisings, the protests, the demonstrations against the regime? There's actually
now keep that in mind. I'm going to tell you why. I'm actually going to tell you why. There is an answer to that. We'll finish this lady's propaganda here. We'll finish this French Iranian's propaganda reading off the script. You can see her looking right at the script here.
A very simple and clear answer, and you're going to understand it like that once I put it into a conceptual framework for you to make sense of. Here's the tough pill to swallow. The reason that the mainstream media will not report on Iran is because the Islamic regime is their ally.
This is hilarious. The mainstream media isn't reporting on Iran. What world do you live in? Literally every single outlet is reporting on this. I doubt you can find a single mainstream outlet that is not reporting on what's going on in Iran. You will not find it. So she's literally just making this up. She's acting like it's being hidden. It's being force-fed. It's everywhere. So it's just the entire starter here is a non-starter. Mainstream media is covering it up. No, it's not. Mainstream media is allies with Iran? What are you talking about? So out of one side of their mouth, they talk about how the Iranian regime hates the mainstream media, hates the West. And then out of the other side of the mouth, they say, don't you know the Iranian regime is aligned with the Western mainstream media? Listen to yourselves. You have no logical consistency. You can't even keep your propaganda straight. It's ridiculous. No mainstream media outlet is covering this. No mainstream media outlet isn't covering this. The Iranian regime hates Western media. The Iranian regime is in bed with the Western media. Which one is it? Now, I'm going to tell you the real reason of what the dynamic that she's talking about. I'm going to tell you the real reason why there's no mainstream media coverage of what's going on in Iran. I'll tell you the real reason here in a second. But let's go back to Miss Laban. Miss Laban, French Iranian.
Okay, they're ally in what? They're ally in the war on the West. The war on the West was originally fought by the communists against the West. Now the baton has been passed to the Islamists. And here's where it gets interesting. The Islamists are not alone.
So the Islamists are the communists now. Okay.
In their war on the West, they're actually working with their allies who are internal. Okay, so the Western left are their allies. But it's not just the Western left anymore. There's now been a fusion between the woke left and the woke right. They've made a
and we're hitting the woke right? Oh my gosh, this is incredible.
super pact, right? They are now the super woke.
The
So
super woke.
Islamists are in an alliance with the super woke to
You are the super woke. You are the super woke. You're talking about yourself. You're projecting. And those lips, baby, I mean, how much work did you have done? Is your daddy a plastic surgeon? Are those the lips that go boom, boom?
destroy the Western world. Now you have the foundations. Let's talk about the role of mainstream media. Mainstream media, okay, their responsibility in this war is to manage your perception.
So first they're not covering it. So first she says the mainstream media is not covering this, right? That's the entire start here is why is the Western mainstream media not covering the Iran war? Now she's claiming that the mainstream Western media is feeding you pro-Islam, pro-Iran propaganda. So which one is it? Are they not covering it or are they covering it on the pro-Muslim, pro-Iran side? Even in your 90 seconds into this video, you can't even stay logically consistent.
How you see the world. How you see the world is shaped by what you are
She's literally just reading off a script, by the way. That's what she's doing. She's reading a script.
exposed to. Therefore, the mainstream media is curating an alternative universe where you see exactly what they want you to see in accordance with this story that they're creating.
Now, what is she telling you? That you see what they want you to see. You mean the Canadian woman smoking the cigarette? You mean all the fake videos of women waving their hair around that had nothing to do with this regime change war at all? Everything that she's reading off of this script is a complete inverse reality for what is going on. But see, it's an American girl. She says, I'm an Iranian. She reads off a script. It's a French girl saying, I'm an Iranian. She reads off a script. Do you see where you're going with this? I've had enough. I can't take her anymore. Do you see? Folks, they are literally using sex to sell you a regime change war. They are literally using women with the added bonus of the Bernays smoking a cigarette. They are literally using women to sell you this regime change war. Now, her question about, well, why aren't they on the ground covering it? I'll tell you that in a second. But here's more. Here's more. We're back in France. We're back in France. Are you ready? It's another woman. It's another woman propagandizing you. Here we go. This is France. A bunch of foreign flags in the background. So you see, you got an Israeli flag, you've got an Iranian flag, you got the F Khamenei shirt. This is in France. What are we going to do? What are we going to do? In English, in front of Iranian and Israeli flags in France. So it's literally a woman who undresses to promote the regime change in a war in France. Have I convinced you? Have I convinced you that you're literally just watching female sexualized foreign war propaganda. And all they're showing you is women. That's all they're showing you. Notice that? And they're not showing you any videos from Iran either. Which to Ilika Lebon, she's so Iranian. She says, why isn't the mainstream media on the ground in Iran? Well, I'm about to show you. So all they're doing is they're showing you a bunch of feminists. They're showing you a bunch of old videos, old photos, and then they're paying, my guess is, who knows, but you have these young women that aren't even Iranian. They're not even from Iran. Who knows if they've ever even been there? And they say, oh, I'm an American Iranian. Oh, I'm a French Iranian, and I speak for Iranian women. So all they're showing you is Iranian women, supposedly. All they're showing you is women. That's all they're doing. They're just showing you women. Here's a woman, low-cut top, big fake lips, makeup all over the place, taking off her clothes. It's women, smoking a cigarette. Women. Oldest trick in the book to get people to support this. Now, why aren't they on the ground in Iran? Why aren't they actually on the ground in Tehran covering this stuff? Well, I'll tell you why. Because if you go to Iran, this is what they're saying. Okay, now I'll read the captions here for you, and I'll do another final statement after this. But this is actually on the streets in Iran. So everything that you've seen, none of it is from Iran in the streets right now in response to this regime change war. Literally none of it. This is actually from the streets. Here's Iranian media interviewing a massive protest. There's a massive protest in Tehran in support, I guess, of the regime. I don't know if they necessarily support the regime, but they don't support the international regime change war, the Israeli regime change war that's ongoing. So they're talking trash on Trump, and they're talking trash on Netanyahu and Israel and everything else. And they're saying, we're not going to let foreign countries determine the fate of our country. So this is actually from Iran on the ground in a massive protest. Now, let me just tell you, folks, I tried as best as I could to actually find what's happening on the ground. I tried the best I could, and this is all I could find. Now, I'm not denying that there are protests happening, okay? I'm not denying that there are protests happening. There are obviously protests on both sides happening. Now, we know because the CIA told us and Mossad told us, so it's not a conspiracy theory, they told us, Mossad is running this regime change war on the ground. Okay, so there is a regime change protest in the streets being led by Mossad. And basically that's because Trump said, I'm not going to blow them up. Trump told Netanyahu, I'm not bombing Iran to do a regime change war. I'm not getting any further intervention. There's going to be no further intervention of the United States to engage in this regime change war. We'll support you, but we're not getting boots on the ground. And so this is all Netanyahu has left, is to send out the Mossad to try to do it a color revolution style on the streets. So there are multiple protests. There are protests in the streets against Khamenei, and there is massive protest in the streets for Khamenei. So both of these things are happening. Oh, it's so crazy. It honestly is so crazy. Let me try to close out the rest of how much more do we have here in the geopolitical. I think we can close this out pretty quickly. Okay. Do you know who Paolo Zampoli is? Yeah, well, when you see everybody that surrounds this Trump administration, starts to, I guess, make a little more sense. So Paolo Zampoli in the 2000s was live streaming young models from an apartment he controlled. Paolo is known to be connected to the Epstein-Maxwell phenomenon, and now he's a matter of the Trump-appointed special envoy. So this is this old story, I guess, here that you can see published on X. Webcam peeks into models' lives. So we all know who runs the adult internet industry. And they also fund politics, and they also have influence on this administration. So that's fun. All right. Now, there's a lot going on in Argentina, folks. A lot going on here. Argentina suspends plan to move Israel embassy to Jerusalem. By the way, this is from today. This isn't from December 1st. This is from, obviously, because of 2026, but they just do their dates differently. So if you're confused by that, this is from January 12th. So Argentina is suspending the plan to move the Israel embassy to Jerusalem. Now, the reason is there is probably more growing anti-Semitism in Argentina than there is in the United States of America. Now, the difference is, obviously, the United States of America has a very large Jewish population, and the Israeli lobby in the United States of America is basically embedded into policy and political culture. That doesn't really exist in Argentina. You don't really have near as much of a Jewish coalition in Argentina or Israeli support in Argentina like you do in the United States of America. Well, you just had these Patagonia fires that everybody is blaming on Israel. And there's plenty of evidence that supports that, including Netanyahu in recent meetings in the West carrying around a map of Argentina with their plan to take the Patagonia Mountains. Of course, Milei is an ally of Israel. And just last year, they signed public policy that said if these lands that used to be protected in the Patagonia, if these lands ever burn down from fire, we will allow foreign investors to come in and buy the land. Well, lo and behold, all the land just burned down by fire. And it seems like the culprits, it just went mainstream over the weekend. It seems the culprits were, quote, Israeli tourists. Go figure. Well, this has been an ongoing issue in this region of Argentina. And now it looks like they just burned down the mountains so that the Israelis can come in and buy it and get all the rare earth materials that are underneath them and then whatever else they want. Well, it's even worse. The firefighters, this is how you know it's military. The firefighters who were fighting these fires discovered that their equipment was sabotaged. That's what you're watching on the screen. Somebody went and sabotaged the firefighting equipment so that they couldn't put out the fires. So that indicates military. Now you've got all of these clips. So this is what's going on in Argentina, and this is why they decided to not move the embassy to Jerusalem, because there's a lot of anti-Israel sentiment happening in Argentina right now. So the mainstream news is going around talking to the locals in the area, and they're literally saying the Israelis came here and did this. That's what they're saying. Now, again, this is being spoken in Spanish, but you can read the captions on the screen. So this is like the entire community is 100% on board with this. And they're all against Milei. And it's 100%. They're united, folks. The Argentinians in this region are 100% united to try to protect this land, and they're all blaming Israel for it. It's not even a debate. Again, these videos are in Spanish. That's not why I'm playing the audio. But these videos are everywhere. They're everywhere. And these are the people that live in that area, work in that area, are trying to put out the fires in the area. And they're all saying it's a military operation from Israel. They're all saying it. There is no pushback. They're all saying it. 100% of the community is saying it. And they're all blaming Milei for letting it happen. And the proof is everywhere. This was last year. This was after the policy when Milei came out and signed the policy that any fires, any land in the Patagonia that burns from fires can be sold to foreign interests, foreign investors. That was against the law. You couldn't do that. It was protected land. Milei changed that last year, and now it's all burned down. Oh, I'm sure it's a coincidence, huh? Milei's fire sale of Patagonia and the Mapuche people's fight for life. That's last year. So after Milei signed over that land that was usually protected and said, okay, foreign investors can come in and buy it now, the locals were trying to fight back against it. So this has been an ongoing thing, and now they watch it burn, and they're saying, who burned it? Who burned it and why? And it all goes back to what Milei did just last year. But now they're going to try to stall and say, oh, no, there's no connection. It's done. It's a done deal. It was a military operation. They burned the Patagonia, and they're going to move in, take the land, and take all the natural resources, take all the rare earth. And this is the deal that Milei cut to become in power. And then the deal that continued when Trump bailed him out just last year with $40 billion. Fun stuff, isn't it?
You're listening to the Owen Report on the Win Network.
It's your favorite podcaster's favorite podcast, The Owen Report with Owen Schroyer.
All right, how we doing? How you guys enjoy that? Ruffling some feathers? How dare you? The music has become an issue. But that's why I support it, because you're talking about it. It's not the direction we wanted to go, but it's where we're at. Would you guys prefer I could just air commercials for a break? We can do classic video game music, or we can just air commercials if you guys want. I got the call. Hey, third and final hour of today's Owen Report. It's been a little hot and heavy. Yeah. But that's what we do here. Nobody is safe. Nobody is safe. All liars, all propagandists, all foreign agents, all cucks will be exposed. All of them. All of them. All right. We're getting into the left-wing stuff. So this is going on over the weekend. Here we go again. Yikes. I mean, these people are just demented. There's no other way to put it. These are demented people. So we've got some examples from over the weekend. And you're really not helping Renee Good's cause, by the way. You're actually hurting Renee Good's cause by engaging in this behavior, because now it adds a little more context, and it makes Renee, it's like you're now reflecting on what she did. So because you guys are now out in the streets blocking traffic and behaving like wild banshees, you're hurting Renee's cause. You're hurting her chances of getting a fair case if it was ever going to happen anyway. So now it's only going to be worse. And then when the ICE agent walks, yeah, I can't even imagine how they're going to respond. So here we go. All right, let's check in on our liberals from this weekend, shall we? Here we go. Now, I'm pretty sure if this was in Florida, which it's obviously not the snow, I'm pretty sure you could just run them over legally in Florida. I'm pretty sure you could just mow them all down at this point. Now, I want you to notice, these are the women. This is mostly women. You notice the men are kind of off on the side and the women are taking control. So this is up north. I want you to notice, though, that this is the older feminist side. This is probably where Renee Good fits in to that element, the radical feminist element. Again, let me do a little psychological analysis here, because there's so many of these videos. I don't know if I think this is the only one I pulled for today. No, I got a couple others as far as the radical feminists are concerned, but I think this is the only one where I have them out like banshees in the streets, but there's a bunch of them. So these radical feminists are now getting in the face of these officers, these men, and they're doing this. They're encouraging them. They're saying, shoot me, take me down, arrest me, all of this stuff. Now, let me just kind of throw this out there, and it'll all make sense in a minute. Remember when radical left-wing feminist who was accusing Donald Trump, what was that whack job's name? E. Jean Carroll. Remember, E. Jean Carroll goes on with Anderson Cooper and fantasizes and fetishes about rape. She says rape is sexy, right? Okay. So, without making too many assumptions, I can't make too many assumptions here about these ladies' personal lives, but I can do a bit of a psychological analysis here. These are the same types of women like E. Jean Carroll that would talk about rape being sexy, is my guess. Now, I don't mean that in like they would say that and mean it, or even what I'm saying is these are women who want these men to get out of the cars and manhandle them. Do you understand what I'm saying? These women are just begging these officers to get out of their vehicles and tie them up and throw them around. They're begging for it. That's what this is all about. And you can see it. You can see it. And this is why the liberal woman is so broken. These women have lost their place. If these women had a man that they could take care of and a family that they could take care of and serve, they wouldn't be out in the streets banging drums, begging for an ICE agent to come manhandle them in the streets, which would be a sexual experience for them, which is what they're lusting for. It's what they're desperate for. Women need love too, you know? Women, you know, you could say have just as many needs in that regard as men do. And these women's needs are just, yeah, you can see it right there. They're begging for it. This woman wants a man to get out of that car so bad and just bear hug her and toss her around. She's begging for it. It's what they want. It is, they might not even know it. It could be totally subconscious, by the way. It could be totally a subconscious desire for a man in their life. And we're not talking about some liberal, limp-wristed feminist douchebag. You know, we're not talking about some low-T soy boy that can't handle business at home. No, these women are desperate for a manly man, and they know that these ICE agents are the closest thing to a manly man grabbing them and tying them up and tossing them around in a way that they so desire. It's the closest they're going to ever be. So they're begging for it. They are begging. So, you know, not to get too much into the gender role angle. I don't really, you know, that's not really a big thing for me. But we'll do the psychology because it ties into that. That's what is happening here. This is the sign of broken women. This is what happens. Civilization has broken down standard relations between men and women. They have tried to reverse gender roles, and the byproduct of that, the result of that, is these liberal women in the streets that are not, they're not, the natural biological desires that are innate within them are not being met. Now, I don't know if they all have kids or not. The situation with Renee Good, we find out that she lost custody of some of her children. But I guarantee you, if these women had a man at home that they could take care of and was taking care of them, they wouldn't be out in the streets. If these women were at home, keeping the house in order, taking care of the kids, whatever, they wouldn't be out in the streets. These women have lost their role. They don't know what to do. They're lost. They're lost. And the truth is, biologically speaking, women need men more than men need women. You see, a man can go out and satisfy his biological desires in many different ways. Combat, simulated combat, social activity, or just with a woman, maybe raising kids and that stuff. But for women, they need that. They need that more than a man. They need that comfort of a home life. They need that satisfaction that they have something that is theirs. A home, a family, a man. These women are lost. All of their biological desires, none of them are being met. All of their biological needs, none of them are being met. So they find themselves lost out in the streets, subconsciously begging for an ICE agent to get out of the car and toss them around in the snow. Just to get a little biological hit of that desire, just to get a little representation of a strong man in their life. That's how desperate and lost these women are. Do not discount that angle. Do not. So I guess here's more of them. These ones are actually able to speak, though. These ones are actually talking to the media. So I guess you could say this is a little different. Let's check in, shall we?
I hate what's happening to it with people who, frankly, aren't from here coming in and telling us who should be here. And when it comes down to loving my neighbor, I'm just going to love my neighbor. So
you have a little peanut with you.
I do. This is Lola.
Oh!
Why was it important for you to bring her?
So now they're bringing their kids out here. So now they're using their kids as political weapons. Very nice. Very good motherly behavior.
Just to feel the energy of love and community and to show people that I'm not going to let someone else intimidate me to live in a city that doesn't represent what I want it to represent. I want to be able to...
Where's your man?
Bring her in a place where people are saying we love our neighbors.
Minnesota I grew up here. It's known as a very welcoming place. Can you believe your eyes? Can you believe what you're seeing happening on the streets?
I mean, no, and also I have to, because if I don't believe it, I'm not going to take action. And I think it's important to stand up for what's right and show up the way that I would want someone to show up for me.
It's amazing. And what's your name?
I'm Molly.
Molly. Thank you, Molly. Thank
you.
I hope you make it back.
Oh, Molly.
All right, as you see, that was just one protester speaking out on why she decided to show up today as well. And so I want to continue to let you know that we'll keep our eyes on some of these live vantage points here on Live Now from Fox and listen in from time to time. In the meantime, we do know that it was earlier today that different.
I'm just so glad that Pam Bondi shut this all down, you know? Thank you, Pam. You promised you'd shut this all down, and you really did a great job, Pam. Way to go. Way to go. All right, Nick Sordor is out there. He's in the field. He was in Los Angeles. There was a U-Haul truck that slammed into a bunch of these protesters. He caught this footage. Let's check this out. Or he shared this footage. This was originally captured by Susan Shoshana. The next video, it will be Nick's. But so you got a bunch of protesters out here waving foreign flags in the streets, and a U-Haul truck, I guess, almost runs him over here. So again, a bunch of foreign flags, another left-wing group organized and funded protest that Pam Bondi was supposed to be shut down, and another just event with a bunch of foreign flags waving in my country. I'm sick of it. I'm sick of it all. And then this was Nick Sordor. He was covering in Minnesota. This is Nick Sortor in Minnesota. He's the one filming, and then I believe it's Cam Higbee that you see in the vehicle with him. So they were covering the protest. Okay, so let me point this out then before we play this clip. So you saw during the daytime, it's mostly these feminist women that are out there making a fuss. A lot of them with a deep inherent desire for a man to toss them around. So they're trying to scratch that itch by angering an ICE agent enough to go out there and grab them and toss them around. So in the day, it's these radical older feminist types. Well, now it's nighttime. And notice these are all like young men. These are all young men. And I'm just thinking, so we know why these radical feminists are out here, right? We know what's lacking in their life that they decide they're going to be coming out here and protesting in the streets. Well, what about these young people? What about these young people? Why are a bunch of young people out in the streets protesting this weekend? Do they really know about the issue or care about the issue? Probably not. But they decided they want to go out here, and you can see in the video that they're just out here to cause trouble. They're just out here to rebel rouse and cause trouble and maybe get a viral video. I'd say it's that shallow. But now it's the young kids. So instead of young kids, like they should be, getting into trouble on weekends, going to a house party, driving around with their friends, finding a creek or something to go make out with their girlfriend, the normal stuff we used to do as kids, the normal stuff that teenagers and college-age young kids used to do. We wanted to find a party. We wanted to drive around with our friends, maybe go to the movie theater, pick up some fast food. Wanted to go find a quiet place with our girlfriend. This is what normal young men used to do. But I guess they're not doing that now. They're not doing that now. So they're out in the streets rebel rousing, and you can see it in this video, and then you'll see what happens here. Things get a little heated after they smash the back window of the vehicle that Sortor and Higbee are in. So I'm just sitting here. I'm like, these are young kids. They look like high school age, college age young men. And I'm just like, guys, what are you doing? Why aren't you chasing girls? Why aren't you chasing girls, looking for a party, driving around, wasting time, eating junk food, going to movies? Like, what are you doing? What are we doing here, guys? You're missing out, guys. Don't you get it? You're missing out. You only get one chance to be a teenager, guys. You only get one small window of life to be a young man and to be a teenager. And you're going to waste your time acting like a buffoon. You're going to waste your time attacking journalists. You're going to waste your time over a political movement you know nothing about. This is how you guys have fun now. What are you doing? You are wasting your teenage years, man. My pet peeve is I hate wasted potential. I hate it. And this is driving me crazy. To see these young boys out here engaging in this type of behavior instead of what normal young boys used to do, that all men, when they get older, they look back and they just say, man, those were the days. Man, if I could just live it all over. Man, if I just knew what I knew now. And then you see these young men behaving like this. It's just, oh, what a waste. What a waste, guys. Guys, you got like 6 years. You got like 6 years to be a young man, teenager. You got like 6 years where you just kind of get to do things different. The world is different. Everything. You got like 6 years. 6 years max to really take advantage of that young man phase. And you guys are blowing it. You are blowing it. What a shame.
Cute.
Get out of the way! Get out of the way!
Actually, I was gonna say I don't miss those days. I don't miss those days. Part of me, it's the thrill. It's the thrill. It's not exactly the fear of missing out. I don't have that. I don't have the fear of missing out. I don't miss doing this stuff. I really don't. But there's kind of that level of like just being in it, just being in the thrill of it. It's not that I miss it. It's just I don't know if it's like a nostalgia thing, but I see these videos. I don't miss it one bit. I have no desire to get back out in the field. I got to tell you, none. It might happen. It may happen, but it's not really my desire. But it's there's an adrenaline rush. There's an adrenaline rush. So there you go. That's just what you got. Now, okay. If you recall, I said that we needed a loud and clear message from Kristi Noem or Pam Bondi or anybody really to at least put out a really clear and concise public statement about what is going to happen now in response to these protests increasing and ICE agents' operations being disrupted. There's an agenda to disrupt these protests or to disrupt these operations with protests. Now, Pam Bondi has failed to do her job. Pam Bondi has failed to shut these things down, so they continue. This is what Pam Bondi or Kristi Noem, if anybody was competent enough, they would talk like this. So this is I believe the chief of police in Chicago. And he stepped up and made a statement about when these operations are going down, what's going to happen. And honestly, Bondi or Noem should either hire this guy to make this statement, or they should just be like, hey, can we take your speech and say it and try to get this as far as wide as possible to avoid anything else in the future. But this is it. Chief of police, I believe, here he is in Chicago. Listen to what he says.
Let me make this clear. Federal agents, ICE, HSI, are officers. They are agents of law enforcement. If you box them in with vehicles, it is reasonable for them to believe that they are being ambushed and that this could end in a deadly situation. And it's reasonable for them to use force based on those conditions. Do not box in any law enforcement officer. You are breaking the law when you do that. And you are putting yourself in danger. Following law enforcement agents around. The question is why? What do you plan on doing? It's also reasonable for them to believe that you're eventually going to do harm to them. If you ram any vehicle, especially that one that contains law enforcement agents, and that's any law enforcement, local, state, federal, county, and you do this intentionally, this is considered deadly force. Deadly force is anything that can cause great bodily harm or death. When you plow into a vehicle that contains law enforcement agents, you're using deadly force. And they can use deadly force in response to stop you. We need to be clear about these laws. We cannot become a society where we just decide to take everything in our own hands and start to commit crimes against law enforcement. It is a crime. You may not like what they're doing. I can understand that there's a lot of emotions out there, but that does not mean that you get to commit a crime, especially one that could lead to deadly force. We need to keep everyone safe. Our responsibilities when it comes to federal agents, and I've been asked these questions, we do not interfere with the duties and responsibilities of federal agents.
So there you go. Pretty well spoken, I'd say. Now, that's Chicago. That's Chicago. So sounds like you're getting some good support there, some common sense there from your police chief in Chicago. Well, this is Philadelphia. This is the sheriff in Philadelphia. And I think it's fair to say that her message is not near as supportive.
Good afternoon. I'm Rochelle Bilal, the sheriff for the city and county of Philadelphia. And I say her name, Renee Good. Renee Good. Renee Good.
Oh, my gosh.
Renee Good. Renee Good.
Oh, boy.
This should not have happened, but we're here today.
I wonder if she would say it as calmly and quietly if it was a black person. She'd probably be screaming it, saying it passionately. Because it's just a white woman, we just kind of mutter it.
Let know that law enforcement professionals, real ones, not the fake made-up ICE, probably Trump's new army to attack citizens of the United States. Did you hear what I said? No law enforcement professional wears a mask. None. None. Those that come into our communities wearing a mask to commit crime, thank God for our district attorney, Larry Krasner, who said he's going to lock them up. And I'm saying now, we are not going to whisk you away for them to hide your identity, because when you do it there, you're getting arrested there. No whisk away for them to hide you. None of that here. None of that here.
What is she even talking about?
Law enforcement professionals do not shoot at moving vehicles. I'm not saying fleeing, because she wasn't fleeing. She was getting out of the way. Law enforcement professionals do not stand in front of moving vehicles invoking an action that is illegal. No, we don't. And so we stand here today with all those who stand against the made-up, fake, what you can call ICE,
made-up,
professional fake law enforcement. I don't call them none of that. I call them made-up, fake, wannabe law enforcement.
I'm going to call you retarded.
Because what they do is against not only legal law, but the moral law.
What?
So I'm with the DA, and we will work with them. If any of them want to come in this city and commit a crime, you will not be able to hide. Nobody will whisk you off. You don't want this smoke.
Oh.
Because we will bring it.
What are you threatening?
To you.
Threatening war? Threatening federal?
And the fake, whatever they call them, because I can't
call them federal agent.
I can't say the name, but the criminal in the White House would not be able to keep you from going to jail. Renee Good should be here today. And to her family, we are saying law enforcement professionals are not the ones here in this city that would do that.
Well, Renee Good put herself in that position. And hey, everybody knows, if you listen to me, I was kind of neutral, even maybe on her side in the beginning. I said, let's have a rational conversation. Let's review this. Let's think about this. We don't want to be pro-police brutality. We don't want to be pro-martial law. We don't want to see this stuff. But it's just, you can't even, it's like you can never side with these people. Because even when you try to be rational, even when you say, hey, hold on, we can review this, let's be rational, and then they're not interested. So that's crazy what that police sheriff just said in Philadelphia. That's crazy. Oh, she's talking big on ICE. I wonder, guys, I would bet you there were what do you think? 3 shootings in Philadelphia? Let's see. Guys, place your bets. Over under 2.5. Over under 2.5. Taking bets. Shootings in Philadelphia this weekend. Oh, the Eagles lost, so that's got to be over. They just shoot each other when that happens. All right, let's see. Ooh, looks like only one shooting Only one fatal shooting that I can find this weekend. One person died and another is in critical condition after they were shot inside a truck in Philadelphia. 25-year-old Aaron Whitfield died at the scene. 21-year-old woman taken to the hospital with a gunshot wound. Police found about 15 to 20 shell casings at the scene. Sounds targeted. So, okay, not too much violence there in Philly this weekend. All right, good for you guys. You did lose. You did attack 49ers fans that were leaving the stadium in classic Philadelphia Eagles fan tradition. The worst fans in sports, probably. Only one shooting. But the Philadelphia sheriff wants you to know that she stands against ICE. She stands against federal agents and seemingly threatens them or postures her police department and people in a war stance against federal agents. So, okay. I've got the solution, though. We could just end the federal government. Just end the federal government. How about that? And we all win. All right, so this is a pretty wild debate. So this is a guy named Corbin Trent. He used to be a communications director for AOC. I don't know what capacity he's in now. But he's on Fox News kind of having this debate. And, again, it's like this is kind of the rational way to handle this, which it's almost impossible for the left to do. But he's kind of rational, and he kind of gets the right counterpoints here. He kind of catches them in the crosshairs. So this happened over the weekend.
So what's funny to me is when is violence? When is protest? When is this all acceptable?
But isn't that the same though? Where's the protest against the regime that's killing people in the street right now? I mean, I don't see anybody in Colombia.
Well, they're doing those today, and it's called the ICE protests.
Well, but they talking about Iran at the ICE protest?
No, I think they're talking about the regime that's shooting people in the face. I mean, I think it's a very American idea to not want police forces to be able to shoot Americans indiscriminately. And the idea that J.D. Vance says is that they should have absolute immunity. I thought this guy was a hillbilly. He had a book, Hillbilly Elegy. And I can tell you, hillbilly values, at least from where I'm from in Appalachia, are that the government ought not be able to have absolute immunity when they shoot you in the face. But maybe we came from a different Appalachia.
Okay, Corbin.
Now, you love gotcha moments. So the whole thing that they're pressing him on is they're saying, why aren't you protesting against the Iranian regime? And you can tell he's like off put. He's like, wait, what are we talking about? We're talking about foreign affairs now? It's like, I came on here to talk about the ICE protest. You're bringing up foreign affairs. So it's like, okay. But there was the big gotcha moment. And again, it's just like, look, folks, I'm just on the side of truth. Politics, policy, I probably more align with the right wing. I'm sick of boxes. I think we need to just shatter the entire paradigm of left versus right. We need to shatter all of these different political identities. The political world is very diverse. You can have many different opinions, maybe some on the left, some on the right, some in the middle, some neutral, whatever. Yes, I probably mostly align with right-wing conservative values. But look, I can see the fault in anybody, whether it's right or left, with logical inconsistency. But did you get the gotcha moment? So he's trying to make it all about Iran. And he's like, well, why won't you stand with Iran? Why aren't they protesting Iran? Well, I don't know. This is America. Maybe because this is America. I know a lot of people on the right tend to forget that, this is America. It's not over there. It's here. But did you see the gotcha, the self-own moment? See if you catch it.
So what's funny to me is when is violence? When is protest? When is this all acceptable?
But isn't that the same though? Where's the protest against the regime that's killing people in the street right now? I mean, I don't.
Where is the protest against killing people in the street? That's the entire protest. That the woman just got shot in the street. That's the basis. So it's just like, what are you talking about? That just happened here. Now, again, the left here comes out and says she was indiscriminately shot. Well, that's a lie too. She was resisting arrest and she hit an officer with her car. So she wasn't indiscriminately acting when she got shot. She resisted arrest. She was out there to get in the way of ICE operations, and then she hit an officer. She got shot. It was not indiscriminate. Now, is there room to have a debate about, okay, is this good? Is this bad? What do we do with the officer? How do we review this? I wish we lived in a rational country. But again, it's like the guy on the right, like, but what about people getting shot in the streets? That's why they're out here protesting. I wish that's what was so unfortunate. It's like we can have a rational conversation. It's like, let's have a rational conversation. Did the woman deserve to get shot? Did she deserve to die? What about the ICE officer? What about him? What about him getting hit by a car? How many times has he been hit by a car? It's like these things there's nuance. There's gray area. We have to be willing to just look at something neutrally and then as a rational civilization say, okay, how do we handle this? How do we make this better? And it's just, no, we just can't even have a rational conversation. Just can't even do it. All right, Kristi Noem got all dolled up. Looking great, sweetheart. Looking fantastic. Got all dolled up to go on CNN. And, this is, it's quite ironic here from Kristi Noem, but she is right. But the irony is pretty obvious. Here we go.
I remember a time when Republicans were very careful about and worried about the government, particularly unelected people.
Well, we can't trust the government anymore.
Having access to personal data.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
You are the government.
Yes, that's what I'm saying, is that the American people now are saying that we have had our personal information shared. And
it's one of the strangest things. And it's not fair to put all this on Kristi Noem. It's not fair to put all this on Kristi Noem, but yet here's the clip. Here's the irony. We can't trust the government. Dana Bash says, but you are the government. She says, yes, exactly. It's like, yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. It's like, yeah. But that's what I'm saying. It's like, why? It's like Trump posting about treasonous actors. You're the president. What are we doing? Dan Bongino complaining about the deep state. You are FBI director. What are you doing? Pam Bondi complaining about the left-wing terrorists and their cells active in the street, disrupting ICE operations. You're the attorney general. What are you doing? So we're watching the people that we just elected. We're watching the people that have political power, and they're pretending like they're just as helpless as us. It's like, gee, I don't know what we can do about this stuff. What do you mean? You're literally in the positions of political power to do something about it, and you're acting like you're as helpless as us, the layperson, the American citizen that doesn't have political power outside of the vote to put you in. It's one of the weirdest things we're witnessing right now, isn't it? Okay, update from the Florida governor's race. This video, I think it did pretty, not even that big of numbers. This is from Florida Man on X. Okay, but this video is actually one of the most important videos you're going to see this year. And I don't know, I you might think I'm overstating the importance of this video. I don't think so. I'll explain. For the year 2026, though, I actually think this is one of the most important videos you're going to watch this year. So Fishback has he has an event for his campaign, and now protesters are showing up. So Fishback, mid-event, goes out to talk to the protesters. Now, here's the deal. These protesters are all, it looks like what's going on here, it's hard to say for sure from this short video other than just context and circumstance. But it looks like these are Florida Jews, right-wing Florida Jews, that are now being organized to go protest at James Fishback events for obvious reasons. He's taking on AIPAC head on. He's taking on the Israeli interests and lobby head on. So, and everybody knows the Jews in Florida are mostly right-wing conservatives, big donor class Jews. They're the types that flee New York and prefer Florida. So it looks like that's what this is. It looks like these are the rich former New York Jewish class voters, right-wing voters in Florida that are now protesting James Fishback. But perhaps I could be wrong about that. I'm assuming that based on the context of this video and the general politics of the area. But nonetheless, this is the video. So these people show up and watch what happens. So Fishback goes out to actually talk to them. He goes out to talk to them and watch what happens.
You can't bring one red cent back from a country like yes, I can. First of all, yes, I can.
So first thing he says, so James Fishback goes out to talk. First thing this guy says is, you're not going to take $1 back from Israel. Israel's going to keep our money. What the hell is that? So he opens it up by saying, Israel gets to take our money and you can't take $1 of it back. Now, Fishback is campaigning on clawing that money back from Israel. So they're out there saying, you're not allowed to do that. That is the introduction here. This man is literally out here protesting for Israel's interest, a foreign country's interest in a governor's race. So there's your intro.
Foreign enough to realize you can't bring 1 red cent back from a country like yes, I can. First of all, yes, I can. No, you
Then you can sue our administration. You can sue our administration. The Florida State Pension Fund falls squarely within that of the executive office of the governor. I will repatriate. Then why are you here? Then why are you here? If I don't pose a threat,
I'm a new career.
I don't hate.
When good people are silent, evil like you persist.
So now he's evil. Now he's evil because he talks about repatriating funds from a foreign country, and somehow that's evil. So you see how quickly we jumped? So we jumped from a policy and legal debate of, can you repatriate funds from the governor's office? Can you repatriate funds from the governor's office from a foreign country? So first, that's the debate, and the guy says, you can't do that. And Fishback says, actually, yes, I can. Here's the statute. And if you don't like that, then there will be a legal fight. But yes, here's the statute, and we can repatriate those funds. And so what does he say? He just says, well, then you're evil. You're evil. He's evil. The equivalency. You're evil because you want to repatriate money back to America from a foreign country. Now, why would you think that is evil?
It's amazing that I'm called evil. I have done nothing but praise you and recognize your inherent First Amendment rights to be here.
You didn't praise us.
Absolutely. I said that I'm proud of each and every one of you.
Disgrace to humanity, a pig, an asshole, a vile human being.
And there it is. And now he's just the scum of the earth. So what starts off with a policy disagreement and then maybe a legal disagreement ends up in you're evil and now you're just the scum of the earth. In 30 seconds, that's where it went. It really says a lot. And isn't it even better that it's this woman, this vile witch who does this? Watch her come into the frame here.
Evil. I have done nothing but praise you and recognize your inherent First Amendment rights to be here. You didn't praise us. Absolutely.
So now he says he praises them, and he says, no, you didn't praise us. He did. What is wrong with these people? Seriously, what is wrong with these people?
A disgrace to humanity.
He's a disgrace to humanity because he wants to repatriate money. He's a disgrace to humanity because he believes in the First Amendment and their right to be there. He's a disgrace to humanity for a policy disagreement. He's a disgrace to humanity because he doesn't want to support a foreign country. What is wrong with these people? Seriously, what is wrong with them?
An asshole, a vile human being.
And then who comes off as the vile human being? Honestly. Look at James. He's standing there, upright, good posture, smile on his face, arms in a non-confrontational position. Okay? This is who they're screaming at. This is who they hate. Who looks like a disgusting person? This wench? This foreign agent wench? Are you a foreign agent, ma'am? Looks like she has, looks like these are recording. Looks like she's got some recording cameras on here too. Ma'am, why don't you like repatriating money? Who comes off as the evil person here? Who comes off as the evil person here? This woman screaming at a neutral camera person? This woman right here? Or James, who's politely standing there with his arms folded, smiling and having a conversation? Who comes off as the vile maniac? Oh, and now they've lost the debate and they've embarrassed themselves and now they don't want to get confrontational. Oh, and now they put the signs in front of the cameras, just like the woke left. It's the woke right behaving like the woke left.
It is peaceful. Our ancestors were immigrants.
Hate rhetoric. Go ahead. Feel free to go away. Have a good night.
So there you go. There you go. The woke right behaves just like the woke left every time. All right, quickly, let's move through this. We're almost finished, and then we'll take your super chats. So this is a guy. Property taxes have to be made illegal. I don't want to play this full 5-minute video, but I want to play the introduction. And many of you have maybe experienced this. I know I have. When they raise property taxes, how it can destroy your entire budget.
Not because I lost a job. I actually got a raise.
Here, hold on. There we go.
Well, I can't afford my house anymore. Not because I lost a job. I actually got a raise. My mortgage just went up by a lot. So they say, you know, buy what you can afford, live within your means. So I did. A couple years ago, me and a woman I was engaged to, we bought a house together. It was our first time in our 40s. So we bought the house in a small town. I drive 40 miles or 45 miles each way to go to work in a bigger town where I can make the most amount of money. And I live in a small town, so I can afford the house. It's a nice house. I love my house. It's beautiful. Over 2,000 square feet. It's great. When I first purchased this house, it was $169,000. And with all of the insurance and stuff added in, my monthly payment was $1,450 a month. And that was good. And with me and her both working, combined income of like maybe $130K, we could do it. And then we split up. She moved out.
All right, so he goes into it, but basically, because the property taxes increased, he can no longer afford his home. I guarantee you there's people listening to this that had a similar experience. I had a similar experience. What happened is, this is probably the extreme example, but in 2020, during the COVID tyranny, yep, thanks, President Trump. In 2020, during the COVID tyranny, Texas was a much more free state than California. So, of course, what happened was the Californians moved to Texas. They moved here in droves in 2020. And because they carried a higher equity in their homes and property value in their homes, they were basically able to move here and purchase houses off the market like that. And, of course, what happened? That caused property values to skyrocket. So property value skyrocketed, property taxes skyrocketed. In 2021, my property tax doubled. In 2021, doubled. And you're sitting here, you're looking at your mortgage, and it's one number, and then all of a sudden it's a much higher number. You're like, what the? Literally just from property taxes. So you could sit here and say, well, they need to do this, or they need to do that with the property taxes, or whatever you paid for your house, that should be the property taxes and not the rigged assessment that you get, all of this. No, just stop property taxes. Property taxes need to be stopped tomorrow. They are illegal. You cannot, how can we, it's like, I sit here every day now and I watch Americans celebrate foreign countries take on corruption in their governments. And I'm like, hey, you're an American. Your government is so corrupt, it makes you pay taxes on stuff that you already own. And you're going to sit here and wave a foreign flag, and you're going to sit here and promote foreign propaganda, and you're going to sit here and celebrate when a foreign country is trying to get rid of their corruption, if that's even true. But that's what you believe. So, you're celebrating all these foreign countries. They're getting rid of the government, and they're getting rid of the corruption in their government. And now here you are paying taxes on something you already own, like a fool. So you celebrate getting rid of corruption in every other country except your own. Wild. Guys, do you remember that story from last week we shared about the 49ers being next to the substation and having all of the soft tissue injuries? Happened again this weekend. George Kittle gone with an Achilles injury. He'll probably miss the rest of this season and probably some of next season too. Wow. And somehow, despite all of their star players, nearly all of their star players, being injured, the Niners still won this weekend. Pretty amazing stuff. So now 3 teams from the NFC West advance in the NFC. And I guess the final game of the opening round is tonight. It's all right. I'm okay with you liking football. I'm okay with you liking sports. As long as it's not like your big thing, you're not like a face painter or a screamer. It's like, I'm okay with it. Some people disagree. They have no tolerance for it. That's fine. You can have your say too. I'm not gonna push back on you for that one. Okay, let's see if there's anything else I want to cover before we go to the super chats. Let's see here. Well, you know what? Let's just do it. Let's just go into the super chats as we are almost out of time today. Let's fire these super chats up. Here we go. So, yes, guys, we do accept super chats on YouTube. If you send us Rumble rants, occasionally we get a Rumble rant. Unfortunately, those things don't stay in the comment section, but the super chats on YouTube do. That's why we go to those. So if you're sending Rumble rants and we're not reading them, it's just because I don't get to see them. They just don't sit in my feed like super chats do. If you haven't followed us or subscribed on YouTube, please do. The Owen Report on YouTube. Trying to grow that. That would mean a lot to me if you could go follow that. So here we go. Danny Norton, your hair looks so good. I want to pull it. Oh, behave, Danny. Oh, behave. MTG tweeted that Q was an Israeli psyop from Robert Bickerstaff. Well, I didn't see, did she say that specifically? I did see her. Well, she said there's no plan. And I did see her say Q was a psyop, but I didn't see her say it was an Israeli psyop. I didn't see that one. I must have missed that. Yeah, the whole Q thing gets weirder now. Iran videos are fake. Venezuelan videos fake. Yeah, exactly. It's like if these wars were so obvious to support, then they wouldn't have to show you fake propaganda. I mean, isn't that like the big tell-all right there? Everything you're seeing from Venezuela is fake. Everything you're seeing from Iran is fake. Why would they have to overwhelm you with fake propaganda if it was so obvious to support these things? It is crazy. Argentina fires resemble California fires. Yes and no. I do think, you talk about the intentionality, yes, but as far as the agenda, I think it's a different agenda from Tay-Tay in Florida. K.O. Surge, MAGAs just agree with whatever Trump does or says. Yes. And I think that is, I think we have a word for that. Not sure. A word for that. Rhymes with fault. Can't think of it. Something. Argentina is the backup plan for Greater Israel if it doesn't work out. I don't know about that. I think they got Greater Israel pretty much locked up. I think they just want the land for rare earth and minerals is what I think. Real George A. Keep up the great work, Owen. Good to see you on YouTube. Hey, thank you, George. Appreciate that. Good to hear from you. George is big on YouTube and X, by the way. Give him a follow. Thank you, E. Durham 34. No comment, just a super chat. Thank you. Ben Johnson, did the flags hurt your feelings, Snowflake? Yes, my feelings are hurt. Actually, Ben Johnson, do you like foreign flags? Do you like foreign aid? Do you like foreign propaganda? Do you like foreign war? Because I don't. So I don't think my feelings were hurt, but I don't really care. You can call me a snowflake. You can attack me, say my feelings were hurt. That's all right. I'm a big boy. I like it. It's fun. But yeah, I think I made it quite clear that I don't like seeing foreign flags. Yeah, I think I've made it quite clear that I'm sick and tired of foreign propaganda, foreign wars, and foreign flags. And if you like that stuff, maybe you're a traitor. I don't know. So I guess I might be a snowflake, but you're a traitor. So I think I'll take snowflake. Robert Bickerstaff, never forget the dancing Qataris on 9/11. Yes, the dancing Qataris. We're all very aware of the dancing Qataris. Sure we are. Pittsburgh bad. I bought an Epstein phone. The camera was shit. Then it hung up on itself and self-destructed. That's good. That's good. And we're still waiting for our Trump phone, too. Ken Rose, rip Charlie Kirk. Thank you, Ken. Tay from Florida. Ms. Rachel equals Mr. Rogers on PBS of yesteryear. We all remember Mr. Rogers. I don't know too much about Miss Rachel, honestly. She was already big. She already had a big kids show. But she obviously landed on my radar when the Israeli lobbyists, the Israeli firsters, the foreign agents all went against her because she doesn't like watching dead kids. That's when she landed on my radar, which says a lot about people that do like dead kids, I think. I absolutely love and adore my Christian church. They never talk about supporting Israel, thank God, but it still makes me feel kind of dirty, from Robert Bickerstaff. You know, I heard this over the weekend, and then others said that they either saw or heard something similar. Apparently, there were a bunch of Israeli ambassadors at big churches this weekend. Did anybody else see that? I know it happened right here in Texas. But apparently, Israeli ambassadors were in mega churches this weekend. So I don't know what's up with that. But multiple reports. Kevin Hunt's. So Charlie's neck is made of steel, and the Twin Towers were made of neck bones. Ha! Shout out from STL. Keep crushing, Owen. Thank you. Thank you, Kevin. Shout out from STL. Appreciate that. That's a good one. Charlie's neck is made of steel, and the Twin Towers are made of neck bones. Well, it makes sense, actually. That does. Finally, Kevin, you're making sense of things for us all. We needed that. Corn Pop. The Iranian woman image, it reminds me of the iconic crying Indian, Keep America Beautiful, who is not Native American, but an Italian immigrant. Yeah. Or, you know, the babies in incubators, you know, any of the normal war propaganda that we get that's total lies. And again, the right wing used to care about this stuff. Remember when CNN took a video from some Kentucky gun range, put a filter over it, and claimed it was in the Middle East? Remember that? And then, of course, the right wing was all up in arms, and they called it propaganda, fake news, attacked CNN for a week. But then when the right wing does it, they don't say anything. You know? Bernays equals J, and... Oh, you're saying because Bernays was Jewish? Is that true? Brianna Morello, silent on Argentinian fires. Is she? I don't know. A lot of Americans aren't covering that. So, I don't know. I'll let Brianna know that her silence is deafening. But a lot of Americans aren't covering that, actually. NASA, the Venezuela and Iran propaganda is the same. Well, quite literally. And to a shocking degree, actually, that people still fall for it. But here we are. That's why we called it out so loud and clear today. Anthony Aguilar, you're a voice of courage and truth. I'd love to come on and talk Venezuela, ICE, Iran, Gaza, Israel, any or all. 25-year-old special operations officer, lots of experience, Gaza, GHF whistleblower. All right, Anthony, appreciate that. Well, you're always welcome here in the comments. If you can get through on a phone line, always welcome on a phone line too. So hopefully someday you'll get through. Corn Pop, mandatory viewing of Dazed and Confused for boys. Are you talking about the liberal women? Is that what we're talking about? The ones that are the ones that are hoping an ICE agent gets out of the vehicle and tosses them around for a little satisfaction? Big Mike. Property tax is pretty much rent payment. Absolutely ridiculous. Yeah. If you're paying taxes on something you already own, do you even own it? It's outrageous. We should be protesting. We are the ones that should be out protesting in our streets to save our country, not foreign flags, foreign wars, foreign corruption. I'm just, it's crazy to me. But it's like, why don't more people feel this way? That's the craziest part about it. 1 of 1K. I appreciate your sports knowledge along with your reporting. Also, Gen Z deserves better PSYOPs. I wonder if the PSYOPs are just that bad now, or it's just so obvious to see them. I wonder about that. I also wonder about the sports thing, because a lot of people that listen to me for the politics, they don't want to hear a damn thing. They don't want to hear a single sports take ever. They like hate it when I do, but maybe, I don't know. We could do more. We could do more. We did tell you the Steelers were going to win the North. That was against the grain when we did it. So, just saying. Just saying. Marina Gavrich. Am I saying that right? You look like a bikini model here. Did you win the competition? Thanks for keeping us on point with the root of the topics. It's easy for energy to sway. Well, that's true. When you're not deeply rooted, it's easy for the wind to pick you up and put you somewhere else, But not here. Not here. Appreciate that. Jordan Walker. The Jordan Walker? Opinion on Bill Ackman calling out the interest rates Trump wants to imply. It's always the apple juice. Thank you for that. Thank you. He plays right into the stereotype. Okay. And, he's been at the heart of a couple conspiracy theories. But no, I think that, Ackman's point is, it's a fair debate. There's a fair debate in this financial policy about whether this is going to help people get access to loans or hurt people's access to loans. It's a fair debate. It's a fair debate. And I think that you could probably say that it will hurt. Theoretically, if the practice is applied the way it's supposed to be applied, then you could say it's going to hurt people trying to get loans. But I'm on the side of Trump with this. Now, we'll see what happens in a year. The fear is that people are going to have a harder time getting loans. But I think Trump had to do something. He had to do something. The credit card debt is out of control. People are drowning in credit card debt. And that difference of 10% to 20% could make or break a lot of people, folks. It really could. So I understand the financial argument that it's going to make it harder to get loans. And I think that that's fair and good analysis. But I just see where Trump is coming from. It's like, look, if people are having to pay 10 and then 20 or 30% on credit card debt interest rates, then, they're going to get crushed. So I'm with Trump on that policy, but I do understand the other side. I do. Anthony Aguilar, I'll try to get through on the phone line sometime. Keep it up, Owen. Thank you. Yeah, I know it's hard to get through on the phone line, Anthony. But someday you'll get through. I can feel it now. Time and the essence is on our side. Iron Lunatic. Is that a weightlifting reference? I like that. Israel needs Venezuela oil for when Iran shuts Hormuz. Well, I do think all of these things are connected. I do think all of those things are connected, but I don't think Israel's going to get that oil per se. I'm not even sure if that's the oil they want, but it's more just injecting more oil into the larger market. But this is a special interest, I think, more than anything. I mean, Israel's interests are inherent. They don't like Maduro, and they don't like the the Venezuelan regime that supports Iran in more or less, but they're anti-Netanyahu. So yes, you've got the Israeli interests that want to see Maduro and his regime out because they're not supporters of Israel. But you got the special interests, the oil companies that want to get in there and get those resources, get the oil. So, both of Trump's, both the people that run this administration, the foreign and the special interests, get what they want, and you pay for it, literally, quite literally. Remember the CNN reporter who hid in the ditch and then a bike goes riding by in the background from Robert Biggerstaff? I do. I believe, was that Anderson Cooper that did that? I think that was Anderson. With the fake I'm drowning stunt. Wasn't that Cooper? Pretty sure that was Cooper. Yeah, well, the right wing used to be against fake news and propaganda, but, here we are. Here they are. So there we go. All right. Looks like we've exhausted our super chats. Let me see here. Okay, let me do this before we sign off. I think I had mentioned this. I think I had mentioned this at the beginning of the show. We have brand new merchandise. We're really proud of this, by the way. I have to tell you, me and the design team spent a lot of time perfecting this. And we pretty much, as it said, we pretty much put that shit on everything. All right, new merchandise at the store, ladies and gentlemen. The new USA Elite logo. This is one, a proprietary one we came up with ourselves, and we put it on sweatshirts, multiple colors. We put it on workout shirts, multiple colors. We put it on the classic T-shirt, the tri-blend. You know I'm a tri-blend guy. We put it on the T-shirt, multiple colors. We put it on hats. We put it on the dad hat here. I prefer the dad hat. We also put it on the standard baseball cap. I believe this is a snapback. Snapback baseball cap style. And we put it on a hoodie, and we put it on a polo, the USA Elite Edition polo. So our new USA apparel is out. We're really proud of this logo. Came up with it ourselves on top of our USA versus everybody and other USA apparel. It's all at owenschroyer.store, owenschroyer.store, the official, the only merchandise shop of the Owen Report. So get it all there, ladies and gentlemen. Appreciate your continued support of the show, continued support of our sponsors as well. Don't forget to support our sponsors. Thank you to Allegiance Gold, protectwithowen.com. Thank you to My Patriot Food Supply, mypatriotfoodsupply.com/Owen. Remember to support us, support our sponsors, and keep us going, ladies and gentlemen. Been a good run, huh? All right. How's that for a Monday? How's that for a Monday? That's going to do it for today. We're going to take a 21-hour break. We'll be right back here. Same time, same channel tomorrow. God bless and Godspeed.